working together is gonna be legend. Wait for it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 29 of Zero Life. My name is Barrett Courtney, and this week I am your host because, unfortunately, Sean Pitts got mauled by a pack of chickens. I don't know if you call a group of chickens a pack of chickens, but that's what happened, definitely. He's definitely not in New York just seeing family. Definitely got mauled by chickens. So here with me this week, sort of to replace Sean and have on and stuff, is Cool Greg motherfucking Gettys.
I'm here to one-up Sean.
Yeah?
Let me put that out there. Yeah. What's up, guys? You know, might know me from Kinda Funny.
Yeah.
Might know me from the streets of San Francisco.
Yeah.
But you probably know me by now, so that's great.
So you were one of the first people when we started doing Zero Life. I remember,
When we started.
when we started Zero Life. You were one of the people that I knew, actually watched the show, because you would tweet at us with, topics in the middle, 30 minutes into it, and you would tweet us your opinion on something or whatnot. And I was like, oh shit, Cool Greg's actually listening and paying attention. That's
yeah,
cool.
I turn into a creeper late night. You know, I sit at home, get my cigar, I watch a little bit of Wizards of Waverly Place, and then once that gets boring, I turn on some Zero Life, just like man. You should, man.
And then you were trying to take over Zero Life, kicking Sean out. And,
yeah. I mean, I liked what he was doing. I just didn't feel like he was 100% into it, the way we could be, you know?
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Yeah, let's go into it. So for you already mentioned Kinda Funny. So you've been doing that for most of this year, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where people would know you on the internet. And if you don't know Zero Life, we're a weekly podcast where we talk about just a bunch of nerdy stuff, pop culture stuff, nerdy culture stuff, every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on youtube.com/ZeroLife and soundcloud.com/ZeroLife Show, and a bunch of other podcast services and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. So, Cool Greg, what's up, man? How you doing today?
I'm chilling, dude. Yeah, just had a late night last night.
Yeah, you were streaming a little bit, right?
Oh, I was streaming, but that was just because I don't really know. I'm learning all of this. Kevin Coelho's been out. You guys might know. Partying with the chickens that beat up Sean Pitts. And dude, so I had to take over part of his responsibilities. Okay. And it's been hard. It's been hard.
But you've been getting into it, or?
I mean, each export I have to do 3 times. Yeah. Because right when it's done, something went wrong, you know, and I'm learning the little things, but at least now I know. So now I know exactly how the whole system works. Yeah, I'd say at least. So that's cool. I'm really happy about that. But stayed up a little later than I wanted to last night. Okay. But I'm still here. I'm still ready for it. Watched it last night as well.
Oh, so,
yeah. Got a lot done last night.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it a little later on in the show. I saw that last night as well with some IGN folk, and it was a fun time, but I'm excited to talk about it later. So people know you as Cool Greg. Yeah. So where does Cool Greg come from? Sort of in the Kinda Funny sort of universe here.
It's really just Kevin started as far as I'm concerned, but I don't really know exactly why he did it. But it's just because it worked on a couple levels where he was just first to distinguish me from Greg Miller once I started being around, you know, and they're like, oh, Greg, and we're being confused. Yeah. And I'd say within the first day of that confusion, when we all noticed it might be a continuing problem, he was just like, hey, Cool Greg. And it just started working, you know, and then, from then on out, it's just, and part of my character is so exaggerated at sometimes where it's I don't believe myself sometimes. So I'm just I don't know why, there's just weird things about me. So he's always just oh, that's cool, Greg. It just kind of goes and makes sense with the whole cool thing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, but everything you do is cool. I wouldn't say anything of it. I wouldn't say any of it is weird or anything. It's just just you being you know?
Yeah. I feel for a 25-year-old 6-foot white male, I do a lot of questionable things and get a lot of passes that I don't know why, but people seem to say I don't come off corny, and I appreciate that. I'm trying to come off authentic.
You come off as heartfelt. That was one of the things. I didn't really know you before you joined or anything. I think we might have met once, offhandedly, and then when I started we started hanging out a couple times. I was oh, this guy is you fit in sort of with the Kinda Funny mantra where it's all about being positive on the internet. Like, you're one of the few people that I've met where it's like you seem and feel genuine and you seem heartfully and all that shit. And that's
Appreciate that. Yeah.
That's why I was like, I fucks with Cool Greg. He's a cool motherfucker.
Well, I mean, like how when you opened the show, you were saying that you've known that I've watched the show before and everything.
Yeah.
And it's like Tim's told me, like, he likes to support people who support people.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. Like every time my friends are doing stuff, I was like, wait, what? He does stuff too? Like, I remember like when I found out that Jared Petty had a show.
Yeah.
Pockets Full of Soup. I was like, are you serious? Like, that dude's awesome. I've kicked it with him so many times. I never knew this. So it's like little things like that. Then I have to go check it out and see what they're doing.
That's cool. So you might have noticed that we didn't have a show last week. I apologize for that.
Sean's fault.
Yeah,
okay.
not all Sean's fault. I didn't realize it because we usually record on Sundays. I didn't realize it until like that Friday that neither of us were going to be here. He went to PAX, and then Alyssa and I went to LA to go to Universal for the first time. Well, technically, sort of the first time. We went to Harry Potter Land the first time.
Yeah.
So,
oh man,
I want to talk about Universal just a little bit. I don't want to make you like sort of too jealous of like that we got to go and stuff because I know you love Harry Potter as well.
Yeah.
So, Harry Potter Land was really, really cool. Like when it's like the Disneyland magic where you walk in, you're like, oh, I'm in this world, and it's so cool. Like we got to go into Ollivanders and like meet the like new like wand master who works at Ollivanders and like go pick out our wands.
Oh, so is there like one specific? He's like an actor almost. Or
yeah,
something?
he's like an actor. You go in and like it's sort of like a little show. It's like a
Man.
group of people, and he usually picks like the youngest kid or whatever to like go up, and he like does the whole thing where like let's test out a few wands and stuff, and like he'll wave it and like something will go wrong, and then he'll pick like his third wand will be like the right one and stuff. It was cute, you know.
Yeah.
And then like we go into the actual shop where we can get our wands and stuff. We got the Dumbledore Elder wands right here, and then we have my wand, which I was telling you before the show. Like if you go on Pottermore, you can take a quiz to see like what kind of wand you like your personality would have. And so I forget, is this a holly? Hazel. So this is Hazel, and I think it looks pretty badass because of like the handle and stuff right there. So we got to do that. I got to have butterbeer for the first time, and butterbeer is like
pretty jealous of that.
Butterbeer was one of those things, like I talked to a bunch of people who had gone to Harry Potter Land before, and they all hated on it. So I was like, oh man, like it's probably not going to be good. And then it was so hot, so I had the like frozen sort of slushy like butterbeer.
Yeah, I've seen pictures.
And that was really good, man.
Did it taste like cream soda?
It's like butterscotch. It's like it's not exactly cream soda, but it is very sweet, and that's why Alyssa doesn't like it because it was like too sugary. She's taking her coffee black nowadays, so she's like any sugar, she's like, I'm not down with.
Dude, she acts like a 50-year-old woman. I don't get it. Black coffee? That's crazy.
Yeah, man. She's been trying to stay away from like the sugar and like the cream and all that. She's trying to like go in hard, you know. She's like not trying to fuck around with all those kids she's got to teach and whatnot.
Yeah, I get it. I don't like things too sweet either, but just because it's butterbeer, I
Yeah,
know I would
exactly.
take it down, bring some home, all the shits.
Yeah.
Man.
And then like for the rides, there's only two of them. The one where you get to go into Hogwarts, and like it's sort of like a really quick adventure where you're trying to go to a Quidditch game with Harry and Ron, and you're flying all over Hogwarts. And then you get chased by a dragon, and then you run into Dementors, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
Alyssa said she teared up in the middle of the ride just because of the magic, and like we love Harry Potter so much, so we were just like, oh, this is really cool. And then the other one was like the sort of the hippogriff ride where like Harry rides on the hippogriff, so it's like a really mini roller coaster basically. And it was cool, but it lasted like 20 seconds, so it was like hella short, so it was like, this one's fine, but the Hogwarts sort of going in Hogwarts one was really cool. And then we got we shopped around a little bit, got the wands. Alyssa got like a Gryffindor cardigan and stuff, so it was really cool.
So like what they walk around and
Nice.
Nice.
And like the later ones where they have like the sort of button up with like the collards and stuff.
I saw like a real cheap version at Target, and I was thinking about like a onesie version. I was thinking, man, like, maybe I should just whip it out. But
yeah, maybe. So yeah, Universal, like Harry Potter Land was cool, but then the rest of it was like, I'd been to Universal once before, and it was like 12 years ago, so it was before Harry Potter Land and Simpsons and all that stuff. So it was cool to like go into Springfield and like go into Moe's and like drink a Duff beer. And that, I think Simpsons was like, I felt more like a kid going to Simpsons than I did in Harry Potter. Like Harry Potter was taking it all in, but like I always forget like how much I love The Simpsons, and then I went in, I was like, holy, like I'm 5 years old again. Like, I'm just going through all this shit.
All about The Simpsons, man. I see you got Simpsons shit right there too, man. So I'd be really excited for that. I didn't know that was at Universal. I thought it was at like Legoland or some like off-brand shit. So like that's cool, man.
Yeah. So like we got to get you to we got to get you to Universal at one point. Obviously for Harry Potter, Simpsons is really cool. And then we did like Jurassic Park, which is sort of like a water ride. You get really wet at the end. There's like a huge ass drop.
Yeah.
And then there's like the Mummy 3D ride, which is. Have you ever been to Disneyland?
Yeah, in LA. Yeah.
So like the do you know what's the inside roller coaster there?
It's like all black or whatever.
Yeah, Space Mountain. The Mummy ride's like that, where it's like all dark and you're inside. And it's like a really fast roller coaster. Yeah. And then there's a part where you're going backwards, hella fast, and it was really cool. So yeah, Universal is lit.
So do you think you could like think of any rides to add into Harry Potter Land?
I know there's
they're both flying right now.
Yeah,
right.
And the one in Florida, I think there's like one more ride. I'm not too sure what that one is.
They're working on a Fantastic Beast one too.
Maybe that would make sense.
Forest one.
They might have Florida might have a Forbidden Forest one. That would be cool to have here to like ride around the car, like the Weasley car, the blue sedan or whatever. That would be cool. I think. I'm trying to think
of the first thing I thought of, like maybe that crashing into the
like Whomping Willow.
Yeah,
you do see the Whomping Willow in the Hogwarts ride too, and it like tries to swing at you, and you just duck underneath it. Yeah. I can't think of like any other like ride I would like really want out of Harry Potter. Maybe to be able to go on the Hogwarts train. Like they have like sort of a replica, but you can't go inside it at all. Maybe something like that. But besides that, like. I think just like being sort of in Hogsmeade was really cool. Yeah. And I can't imagine like Florida, you get to go in like Diagon Alley and all that stuff. Like that's got to be dope. So, yeah.
Yeah, man, that's exciting, dude. I can't wait to go there. Let's Get Lexi. You know her. She. I don't really remember. I think she got engaged at Disneyland or something like that, or Universal Studios.
Yeah,
or
they were
something.
On some sort of.
But
vacation,
she got me a bunch of Harry Potter stuff from that place, and it's like she got me like the letter that screams at Ron. When he opens it, so she got me one of those. It's like, Greg, you will work for House Pence and all this stuff. Like, so it was hella cool, and she's bought me a bunch of stuff like that.
That's
so
cool.
I like that a lot.
We saw at one point you could send yourself like the Hogwarts letter. I almost did it, but
I got that in a box from Kevin one time. He gave me the Hogwarts letter. He also gave me the letter that like I think Harry's mom wrote to Sirius about. You got that letter, and then you get like all the DA mob that wrote on the thing. So that's pretty cool.
I'm gonna take this guy because he's flimsy, you know. So I'm just gonna put him right over here. I don't want him falling over and distracting the show. It's already distracting the show though. The letter from Harry's mom to Sirius is like a deep cut. That's really cool.
Yeah,
like
I like
that.
It a
that's
lot.
only in the book too. So that's really dope. So yeah, Universal is cool. We gotta get you down there at one point.
Yeah, dude. I'm actually going to LA on the 24th, and then the 23rd would be Saturday.
Okay.
So my man James, he's in love with that kind of stuff. So like he was thinking about not taking us, but driving us. But I don't know. I don't really got the funds for it, but I could try to make it happen.
Try to work around it. You're the young brother of the famous schemer Tim Gettys.
Yeah,
so
dude.
Just scheme your way through it.
Yeah. I asked Kevin if he was trying to go, but he was like, dude, it's too close to the wedding. But if Kevin was in, I know it for sure would happen, and we'd be able to make it go.
Yeah. But speaking of, like, we're talking a lot of Harry Potter and stuff, I just want to bring this up a little bit. So Stardew Valley is this game that's sort of like, what's the game you really liked growing up? Harvest Moon. So it's like a 16-bit, very pixelated game where you, like, sort of just, it's a simulator where you're taking care of a farm and like animals and all that stuff, and you like make relationships with a bunch of random people. So the creator of Stardew Valley tweeted out a picture of this possible game. I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but it's this game basically where you get to be a student at a wizarding school. It's not like actual Harry Potter, but that's still like close enough where I'm like, I want that, because we haven't really gotten a Harry Potter video game since like the last movie or whatever. So I'd be super down with that. And I've been jonesing for like a Harry Potter, like what I really want is a Bully game, but it's just Harry Potter. Have you ever played Bully?
Man, that was on PlayStation 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So that was like the Rockstar game that like they made for like kids who like parents wouldn't let them play like GTA and shit.
Yeah.
Like I would basically.
Oh yeah, he was like a boarding school, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I would basically want that, but I think this is like a super close second where who knows? You might be able to like go to classes, like learn about potions.
Have you played any of the Harry Potter games?
I remember playing the first one a lot, like on PC and stuff, back before I had like a console.
That's actually the only one I don't own. I don't have. I've never played. I've never seen.
That one was fun. It was like sort of open worldy. Like you got to like sort of explore around like Hogwarts. You had to like, I think some of the side missions you could like meet up with the Weasley twins and like collect every Birdie Bots every flavor beans or something. But yeah, that one was really cool. And I think I played Chamber of Secrets, but I don't think I ever beat that one. Mm-hmm. And then
that's the one I probably put the most hours into.
Okay.
Other than the Lego ones.
Okay, so yeah, we have the Lego remaster for PS4. Mm-hmm. We started playing the first one, but we never I think we never got past Gringotts, like going into the bank and stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to 100 it, man. I'm trying to get the whole everything, man.
Okay. And then I remember playing Goblet of Fire, the one with the Triwizard Tournament. Mm-hmm. And I didn't beat. That was another one I didn't beat. And then I played.
I haven't beaten any of them.
Yeah, the last one I did play was Order of the Phoenix, and I didn't like that movie, but I played the game. I really liked the game though, and that was one I actually did beat. What about you? What did you play all of the games, or were you sort of in and out?
I played the game that was on the DVD menu. You guys remember that game?
I
played that game. Yeah, so fucking much.
Sorted and go into like Gringotts and all that stuff. Holy crap! Yeah, I remember that.
I actually had a like back in the day, like remember like the PS1s, like the portable DVD players with the little screens that were bullshit.
Yeah.
I had one of those and the remote sucked. So like it would take you forever to get on the button you wanted, because it would just keep going back and forth and shit. Yeah. But put a lot of hours into that.
Like a secret one. Like it was a secret button if you go into the special menu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the special features, it was like a hidden button in the middle of all the selections that you had to get into.
Dude, so lit.
And then you got to like go and like see the Sorcerer's Stone and all that stuff. Yeah, that was crazy.
I played the first game I've played off of it was Legos, the 1 through 4, I think it is.
Yeah,
those
I think
years
that came like together.
Beat that one on
360 or PS2?
Not on the handheld. DS, 3DS, I think, on Tim's. Cool. And then once I started messing with Kind of Funny, they were like, "Hey, do you want the game or whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah, can I get the next Lego?" Yeah, the next Lego. So I got that game, and I put some hours into it, but I never actually fully completed it because I'm still trying to 100% the first one, and I don't even have the DS anymore. I don't even know where it is. So yeah, that. But then since I've been streaming and everything, I Kind of Funny, like doing on my Instagram and all that bullshit. I've been playing the Harry Potter ones, and like, man, it's hard to get into. Like I like it, but
the Lego or just the regular?
No, the Legos I'm good with. It's just the regular ones, like they don't flow the same way. Like Hit and Run, the Simpsons Hit and Run. You know, it's not the best game, but I can play it and I think it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
But with the Harry Potter games, they didn't feel right to me.
They don't hold up or anything.
Yeah,
that sucks. I remember having a lot of fun with the first one, and I don't think like the second one changed that much from like gameplay style. So. Yeah, I do remember the 5 Order of the Phoenix. That was very like you could travel like all throughout the school and like on the yard and stuff. And I thought that was really cool. And that was the game that I was like, I want a bully game where it's basically you don't play as Harry, but like a new student or whatever. And you have to go through like your own adventure at the school. Like that would be dope.
I remember I also played the Deathly Hallows
Connected,
one, I think it was because
it the one with the motion controllers or just the regular one?
Just the regular one, because I don't think about that. But it was on PS3. Okay, it was the first one that was on PS3. I don't remember that, but because I remember when that one came out, I was like really excited.
That was probably Deathly Hallows Part 1, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or right before. What was after Order of the Phoenix? Half-Blood Prince.
Half-Blood Prince.
I think it was Half-Blood Prince because I'm pretty sure I have 3 on PS3.
Okay.
So that would make sense.
Okay.
Did you ever play Quidditch?
Yeah, the Quidditch game was.
That was cool.
I put so many hours on the Quidditch game, man. Of like, you start off playing as like the houses at Hogwarts, and then you get to pick your own like professional team and stuff. I always went with Ireland, and then like I would play through as Ireland. Yeah, man.
All right, so this is just a little bit off base, but have you ever read these books called The Chronicles of Cristomancy?
No.
It's like legitly it's going to make you kind of hate J.K. Rowling. She's like, what the fuck? This is Harry Potter. It was written years and years beforehand.
Okay.
But it was like the just take Harry Potter but replace the main character with a girl named Kat.
Okay.
I think it's a boy named Kat, but his sister's like the Harry Potter of the story, I guess.
Okay.
And the bad guys, I think He Who Must Not Be Named. They go to wizarding school and they do all this shit, and it's like what what was the first one? The Stone.
Sorcerer's Stone.
That's what they're going after. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's like just a lot of references, but I fucking loved it. I think they're books for children though, like a lot more younger than the Harry Potter audience, but
like Harry
they're
Potter
awesome.
was so cool with like the first two are definitely like more kids books, and then like the further you get, the more adult they become.
Yeah.
Like they definitely, she knew how to write like sort of for that generation growing up and stuff. That's what I love about that series the most. So what do you think if this Stardew Valley Wizard game comes out? Would you fuck around with it?
Yeah, I would play it. Like the reason I bring up the Crestomancy thing is because I like the whole world. And what was it? Book of Spells, I think there was a game. You know
that sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah.
I went to buy that one time, and the dude at GameStop was like, "Hey, but just to let you know, you need like a wizard thing, or you know what I mean, like a wand or something." I was like, "Fuck." He's like, "Yeah, we don't sell them." So he's like, "I don't know if we want to buy this or not." And I was like, yeah, "I guess not." But so I've never seen it played or anything, but I want to play that too, just because it's magic, you know. Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely play this.
So are you into like other sort of high fantasy stuff, like what's an example
like
here?
Game of Thrones,
like Game of Thrones, or
I mean, like, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like sort of like other stuff in like that sort of genre.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of like whatever, but nothing really stands out to me like Harry Potter does. You know, I try like Wizards of Waverly Place is sick to me, but I can't find it on DVD, and I didn't have cable the whole time, so I've only seen the movie in a few episodes. So it's like, damn, I wish I could watch that again.
Who's the actress in that? Like the really Selena Gomez. Damn, she was hella young back then.
Yeah, the whole thing
That's
was
crazy.
Cool.
So, other gaming news, Rockstar randomly announced this week that LA Noire is being remastered and brought to the Xbox One, the PS4, and the Nintendo Switch. And so people are like, why out of all the Rockstar games? Because like we were talking before that, and you're like, you sort of knew it, but not really. And it's one of those things, like a lot of people are like you, where it's like, some people know it, some people are really into it. Like I loved that game when it first came out. My aunt, who likes a lot of Rockstar games, loves LA Noire. So she, like, when this was announced, she was like, yes, like it's coming to PS4, like I can play it again. So it was like this weird thing. It was like, why out of all like your Rockstar games, like why this one? Like why not Bully or like one of the Grand Theft Autos or like Red Dead or something, right? And I honestly think they're doing this because it's probably like a small enough game for them to gauge sort of like how successful even one of their smaller games could be, like on a Switch, you know? Like if it does really well and it's only like one of their smaller titles, like they're probably thinking like, oh, like GTA or Red Dead might do like gangbusters on here, you know? Like it might do super well. So I think that it's like a low risk, low reward sort of thing.
Would you think they don't already expect GTA and those bigger names to already just do well?
Yeah, that's the other thing is like you would think that they would just come out with one of their bigger titles because that would kill on any platform. So they might just be testing out how engaged the audience is on Switch.
Because if this comes out and it doesn't do well by their standards, does that mean we shouldn't expect GTA and that stuff?
It's hard to say because like LA Noire is like it's from last generation. I played it on 360, and even though it's open world, I don't think it's like, it's not like, it wasn't like super beautiful or anything. Like it looked fine for the time, right? So like to imagine, it was probably super easy for them to just like make it a little prettier for this generation. And so you have to imagine like if one of their bigger open worlds would actually like GTA 5 or Red Dead, which is super huge, like if that would actually work on like a tiny device like that. Like Zelda works, but like Zelda's also got like a more cartoony art style, so it's not like stressing on the hardware as much. But like you have to imagine with like sort of how well like GTA 5 and stuff looks like graphically, like if that would realistically run on a system. So it might not be like a test for like to see how well it would do like numbers wise, but maybe how well like their games would run. Maybe.
What system was LA Noire on?
It was 360 and PS3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was last generation. So who knows? I think it's an interesting choice. Probably not the best choice for them. I think like probably Red Dead would have been a better pick for them to like test out on Switch.
Yeah, because I know that name. You know,
yeah, exactly.
Played it. That's like,
yeah. So like I think it's an interesting pick, but I'm excited anyway because I love that game. I think like you should check it out. I think anybody should check it out. It's like a really cool, like it's not like any other Rockstar game like where you're trying to be like the bad guy or like doing violence or anything. It's like you're a policeman and you're like investigating these like serial killers and stuff. So it's a really fascinating like sort of turn for them. So yeah, check it out. It's really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, the game's basically you try to see if people are lying, right?
Yeah. It was the time when like mocap was starting, when people were putting like the balls on them and like actually acting. There are like a couple legit actors in that game too that are like on TV and in movies and stuff. And so like you'd put like people of interest in an investigative room or whatever, and like ask them questions based off of like clues that you found throughout like the investigation, and like they would tell you an answer, and you sort of have to like, based off of like what their face looks like after their answer, like if they look nervous or like sort of mean or something, you'd have to sort of guess of like if they're telling the truth or not.
Does the game teach you or get you ready to know when someone looks nervous?
See, that was one of the problems of the game. It was like it was fine, it wasn't great. Like there would be some times where you'd be like, no, this dude is super lying, and then it would turn out that they were like totally like telling the truth and stuff. So I don't think the technology was there yet, what they were trying to do. They might be able to improve it a little bit, just since they're going back and like making everything pretty. They might be able to like go back and tweak some things to make it a little more like lean into it a little more and make it easier. But it was cool. It was a cool idea. I don't think they like did it great when it first came out, so it'll be interesting to see if they improve that all this time around. So but yeah, that'll be cool. It's coming out in November, which is probably another mistake, because right before that you got Super Mario Odyssey, you've got what else, you got Assassin's Creed, and then you got Wolfenstein. You have like 3 really big games. You got South Park around that time too, so it's like it'll be interesting to see if anybody really picks this up, because a bunch of new games are coming out.
Yeah,
so.
I'm juiced for South Park, man. I want to see something
yeah.
like that.
Did you see the thing where it was like the difficulty selection is like based off of skin tone?
Yeah,
that was like, yeah. So like the darker you are, the harder the game gets. And I think someone was reporting. I read this somewhere. I forget. It might have been Eurogamer or something, that it doesn't actually make the gameplay hard. What happens is like you get less money and stuff, and like people treat you differently if you choose like black or like sort of darker skin tone. So it's like, it was a very like, at first I was like, oh, that's a little fucked up, but then thinking about it, it's like, oh, it's like knowing the South Park guys, it's them making fun of our society.
It's another episode.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
They just nailed it.
I'm excited because this one's about superheroes and stuff, and like us like being nerdy and stuff. Like the first one, like it was all Game of Thrones, and at the time I wasn't super into it yet, so I was like, this is cool and it's funny, but like now that we're going into sort of a realm that like I love, I'm really interested to see like how they make fun of superheroes and shit.
You said the first one was, where was it?
It was sort of like Game of Thrones. It was like them playing like,
oh yeah, it was.
Yeah,
okay.
Because I remember the TV show at the time, the season was all like making fun of Game of Thrones, and
when they're in the garden all
over. They kept going to that dude's garden. He's like, "Hey, get out of my garden!" And at one point, he's like, "He's gonna betray you." What? Yeah. Every time he brings people in here, he always betrays them. It's like, oh okay. And I remember the last episode. It was like a 3-part episode, and the last one, they like. Basically, it was like, we should be outside. We should play video games. And then they teased the video game. And it was like, that's funny. So besides like video game stuff that's happened this week, Star Wars Episode 9, which is coming out in a couple of years. I think right now it's 2019. They lost their director. And this is like...
Was that like George Lucas or something?
No. It's George Lucas is very not attached to these really anymore. Colin Trevorrow, who directed Jurassic World, which came out like a year or two ago.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. Yeah, I wanted to though.
It was like, from what I gathered from people, it was like fine. It was like, it wasn't like anything crazy, but it wasn't like awful. And then he directed another movie called Safety Not Guaranteed a couple years before that. It was like more of an indie movie. It had Aubrey Plaza. I don't know if you know her. She's from like
I don't know, no one there.
She's from a couple things, but it was like that was a cool like sort of science fiction sort of indie movie about like time travel or space travel or time
Has this
travel.
dude done other Star Warses?
No, so this would have been his first Star Wars movie, and he directed a new movie called Diary for Henry or something, and it like bombed, and like people like reviewers are like hating on it, and it just came out like a week ago, and people are speculating that he got fired because of how poorly that movie did. So it might be that, and like people are like, oh no, like they lost their director, but I'm sort of not bummed out because the director for the new one I really like. He did Looper. Did you ever see Looper?
I don't think so.
Okay, that was Joseph Gordon-Levitt and who's the older guy? I'm blanking on names right now. Bruce Willis. And Bruce Willis like sort of played the older version of him and stuff. That's like a really cool science fiction movie that like everybody should check out. So like that's the director for the movie coming out in a couple months, and he's like one of my favorite directors. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then this other dude directing in a couple years, it's like, oh, like he's fine, whatever. So like when they announced that he was gone, I was like, sweet, maybe we can get like a sort of like another director like Rian Johnson who could like kick ass with like cinematography and stuff, like stuff that I used to study. It was like really cool shots. And
So when do we find out who the director is? Like, it has to be soon?
Soon, you'd think, because like I don't know if you remember this, but like a couple months ago, Han Solo sort of went through the same thing where like the directors for the Han Solo movie got kicked out, and then they brought in Ron Howard, and that was like in a week turnaround. So maybe even by the time this episode
Ron
goes
Howard, that's the Happy Days guys?
yes,
Shit.
yeah. So he's directing Han Solo, and they announced that I think like within a week of firing those guys. So maybe by the time this episode comes out, we'll know the director of Episode 9, but who knows? And then besides all the news and stuff, we can finally talk about the movie we saw last night, which was Stephen King's It. Mm-hmm. So how'd you feel? Without spoilers, how'd you feel about the movie?
Oh, shit. Without spoilers.
Just for a couple minutes, then we can go to some spoiler territory.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was longer than I expected it to be, but I was okay with it.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like they dragged anything out.
Yeah.
But sorry, I'm not used to talking without spoilers. So just make sure I don't do nothing wrong. I feel like I got exactly what I wanted from it.
Okay.
You know. So yeah.
Did you find it scary at all?
Nah, I wouldn't say necessarily scary, but they nailed like even the poster. I feel like it's like powerful. You know what I mean? They had a lot of scenes where I was like, oh shit, like
that's intense.
I can compare it to like Babadook or whatever. Where there's like a lot of scenes I remember from that movie where it's like the story wasn't great or whatever, but like when I see the scenes, I'm like, oh shit, for the rest of my life, when I see this, I'm gonna think of this. You know? So like when I see the clowns now, like it got it. Like it reminded me of like, oh shit, that's fear right there.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I enjoyed it. It wasn't as scary as I wanted it to be. Like when you'd see Pennywise or something, like it would be like, oh, for like a second, and then it keeps showing him. It's like, oh, he's not like that scary. There are a couple scenes though that we can talk about in a little bit that are like, oh, like that's fucked up. Mm-hmm. There's like a lot of like there's some like gore in here that I was like, oh, like that's terrifying. Like even like the first 10 minutes of the movie, you're like, oh damn, like hey, I can't believe they did that. But it was also like unexpectedly like it was really funny. Like all the kids like trash talking each other like throughout the entire movie. Like even like near the end of the movie where they're facing like possible death and all this stuff, they're still like cracking jokes and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, that seems very much of like me in freshman year, just like talking shit to like all of our friends, just making fun of each other and all that. And it was like even more so because they're in the 80s, so they're just like not politically correct and all that stuff, just like making fun of each other's moms and stuff.
Why they do that? Why they decide to do it in the 80s? It's
so,
like, hey, it'll be easier, it'll be better.
I think what they did, because the book was the kids were in like the 50s or something, and then like the adult like timeline was in the 80s. So I think why they did that was so because this movie, like the sort of like this genre of movies like horror and stuff, people associate a lot with the 80s.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they went for, so they could like sort of nail that style of like Poltergeist and like all of those movies that came out around that time, so they could sort of like Stranger Things, of like why sort of Stranger Things takes place around that time, just because of the sort of the vibe like you get from those types of movies. I think is why they did that. And it'll be interesting because since it's I'm going to stop spoilers here, or I'm going to stop myself here right now, because now we'll go into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, go see it, come back here, and we'll have a little talk about spoilers. Mm-hmm. So the first 10 minutes, Georgie, the little brother who goes missing, gets his arm just bitten off by the clown. And like I was so surprised like at the beginning where like you see him in the sewer. that they show you his like sort of monster like physique like that early. I thought they were going to save that for later, but that like out of the gate they're like, nope, this is what he is.
Yeah. And with how complicated I'm finding his story to actually be, like he's not just a killer clown.
Yeah.
I think that's good. So right when you're into it, like, oh, there's more to him than just that.
Exactly.
So you kind of like expect the twist.
All the kids are like seeing like different forms. Like the one kid like saw him as like a leper and stuff like outside of the house when he's like trying to take his asthma or whatever. And then like the Mike sees like all of like the hands coming out of the door and like the building on fire.
So was the building that they end up finding its house, like where his headquarters? Is that where the kid's parents died?
I don't think so.
It was just another burnt down building?
I think it was just like a creepy old house. I think because I thought of that for a second. I was like, oh, is that like where he lived? But they didn't talk about it. Yeah.
Like, why is there a well in the bottom?
Exactly. And I also think like Mike, I think if that was the case, when they all go in, I think Mike would have like known where everything, like they would have had a moment where he's like, oh man, I can't believe I'm back here or something. And they didn't do that. So eventually I was like, yeah, I don't think this is where he used to live. So
as far as the first scene though, I love how Georgie was like he was trying to get away with one arm and then they drag him in. Like it was like,
God, yeah, he's like crawling, and I was like, this was like one of the few scenes where I was like, this is actually like messed up, because I feel like everything else throughout the movie was pretty tame for the most part, but like just him like crawling with half an arm, and you're like, oh my God. And then like the shot like looking down and like of him crawling and you see the hands like slowly come out, you're like, oh my God, that's so fucking creepy. And there's like, this was also like, I'm just gonna go into like some really deep film stuff here as I usually do. It was like the cinematography in this movie was like really, really cool. Like there's like a lot of like really just like well thought out shots, like camera angles and all that stuff. So I just want to shout out to the cinematographer who's like nailed it, of like just knowing how to build suspense, just like where camera placements were. It was like really, really well thought out.
I remember the first one thinking like, holy shit, like they made like white sheets really scary. The crowds behind it. So like, I don't know if that goes into that, but so how did you feel about like, what were some of the standout parts for you? I ain't a movie critic. I don't really know shit about shit. Put that out there first. But like, I remember seeing the scene where when I'm blanking on the name, but the girl,
I think her name is Beverly.
Yeah, sounds right. So when Beverly's in the bathroom and all the blood sprays out, I instantly thought like there's gory movies in 2017, but like that kind of excessive blood reminds me of the 80s. Like it reminds me of older
that was
horror
definitely
movies.
Like an homage to The Shining, who are like the bathroom scene in The Shining. And it was like he just wanted to go all out in that scene where there's just literally just blood everywhere. And I thought it was like funny where like they all go in and it's like, well, we can't leave it like this, and they all start like cleaning.
And that was fun. Like, that was a morale booster, right?
Yeah,
like
and
that
it was
cool.
Like, there was a lot of moments like that in the movie where it's just like really fun, funny parts, like with all the kids, like when they go into the chubby kid's like bedroom, and then she like turns the door around, it's the New Kids on the Block poster, and like the song starts playing, and it's like all those like cuts. It was that moment where it's like doing all the close-up shots of like the guys on the poster. I was like, did they bring in Andy Cortez to edit this like scene real quick? Because it was like a very like Andy Cortez like.
I kind of didn't like that the kid Ben, I think it was
the main kid.
Is it the chubby kid?
Oh,
whatever. No,
So it might have been Ben,
that kid. How he had all the details of the murders and everything pinned on his wall. I was like, that was a little much. Like, I understand he was reading it in the library and he's into it, but like
he was getting like super,
you know what I mean?
It's
like how we're into Harry Potter or something, like covering our rooms with it, like that. I don't know.
It did seem a little like weird because I understood like the main kid, which I think is Bill. When he was in the garage and he had the poster up, like I understand
and
that
the hamster thing. All that made sense.
I remember that because he's still like upset about his brother. It's been like 8 months and stuff, and he's still like trying to like put it together. But like for the new kid of the town to sort of like be really into it, it was like, all right, this is a little much. So yeah, I totally get that because it was like, you should like, I know he's not like a normal kid, he's like a loser or whatever, he's part of the losers club, but like you should still have like some like just other posters that aren't New Kids on the Block.
I mean, even
stuff.
if he had like just a journal dedicated to it,
Yeah,
like overflowing
exactly.
with shit, I'd feel that. But yeah, it was a little much.
And I liked the bullies and stuff. Like you were saying before the show, like they really make you hate them at like the very beginning.
Yeah.
And
I remember, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
In the first movie, like I'm not too familiar with it, but I remember standout scenes of seeing the little kids who, as I remember thinking, these are like not overly privileged kids, but these are just bored ass suburban or whatever, not suburban, like that area, alone kids. So they don't really know right and wrong the way I do from living in the city. So like when they pulled out the knife and they were going to carve the initials in, I remember really young thinking like, oh shit, like these kids don't give no fuck because they're stupid. Like they don't realize how much trouble they're getting in. And I believed it. I was like there in the moment. And with this movie, it's like 2017. I mean, even though it's the 80s, they made it relatable to someone in 2017 where it's like, oh yeah, this kid actually looks like they might have like real problems at home. Like there's like, this is why they're out there stabbing and acting out.
Because I liked that they sort of gave like the main bully with the mullet and stuff. Like later on, you see his home life and like sort of like his dad, who's a cop and stuff, like scaring him all the time. And then when he goes in and like he sees the TV and the TV's like kill him, and he like puts the knife to its throat. It's like, oh, that's fucked up.
That was almost like a standout moment to me because it seemed almost like a dream almost. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seemed like he was possessed.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, because what I think is like that he might have been a little too old for the monster to like really be like, I want to eat you. He might have, because like before that, like the kids had already gone to the house and they sort of beat up the monster a little bit and then they left. And so I think he brought in basically another kid to sort of try to take care of the rest of the kids, just to have like a little backup at that point, you know? So I think that's what happened, where it was like the monster was like, all right, these kids know what I'm up to, so like their guards are up, so maybe I can like possess someone else to sort of
scare the shit out of them
and maybe kill them and like to make my life easier, you know? So I think that's what like sort of happened.
So you think he's dead?
I don't think so. I don't think he's dead, because like you see him fall down that well, but like that's down, like that well goes all the way down to like the actual layer. Because like at the end of the movie where what we saw like with the floating bodies, I don't think that was the actual layer, because you see the clown fall down too. But spoilers, like the clown isn't dead, because there's a whole other half of this story that hasn't been told yet. Like at the end,
are you supposed to think he's dead?
I think so, but then at the end,
he just kind of dipped off from them. He's like, all right, then y'all, like, I mean, like y'all won this time. That's what I got from it.
That's true, but like the way they focused on it, it was like he started breaking apart, like his head like started breaking apart. It reminded me like Voldemort dying and stuff in the movie. I was like, okay, and then he like he's like, and then he says fear, and then he like falls down. And I think for people who might not be familiar with the story, I think that's what he was trying to do. If like people who haven't read the book or anything, like, I'm going to try to make them think like this is the end. And then like there wasn't really an after credit scene, but like the title of the movie comes up and it's it. And then it says chapter 1. And that was like sort of like the teaser or whatever.
I think that's why it happens in the 80s.
So it can happen in 2016.
Happens
yeah. So 27 years later, that would put the chapter 2 in 2016. So that'll be, by the time the movie comes out, it'll be a couple of years ago. So that'll be interesting to see like what adults they get to play as the kids and whatnot. Someone last night was suggesting Breaking Bad, like in the later season, Todd, the kid who like the guy who shoots the kid and whatnot. He was suggesting that Todd should play the chubby kid as an adult, because in the book the chubby kid grows up to be like this sort of hot dude and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see like who they get to play there.
I'd be really disappointed if
there's a bunch of like games.
If you were trying to get across the idea that this is a standalone movie and not a part 2, and that was the ending, and I've never seen the first movie, I just saw this, I'd be kind of like, wait, so this badass character who's been killing people for hella years just kind of got taken out by like a crowbar, and just these pack of kids not being scared anymore. Like,
so I think that's what it wasn't like them beating him up. It was like the whole sort of theme here is overcoming your fears and stuff. And so I think that's what defeated him was like, they had all sort of faced their fears in previous scenes, right? Like the girl already had to deal with her sort of possibly rapey dad and whatnot. She already dealt with that. So when she went there, that's why she didn't float all the way up to the top. She was only floating a little bit, was because like she wasn't really scared anymore. So that's why that when they brought her down, she was able to come back, which was like sort of weird because like the kid kisses her. I was like, did the kiss bring her back, or like what?
I don't like
happened?
that at all.
Yeah, that was weird.
I'm all for the good versus evil kind of thing. Like if you're not scared, you the light will protect you kind of thing. I get that, but then the kiss was like.
It was a little weird.
Yeah, it stood out.
See, what I wanted to happen was like I thought it was going to build up to another funny moment where he like kisses her and like she like doesn't wake up and they're like, well, fuck, and then like they like accidentally like drop her or something and like that's how she wakes up or something, because that's what I thought was going to happen. It was like
Someone's like, my turn. Let me try.
So yeah, it was a really good movie. I would say I really liked the guy who played Pennywise. Even though like there was some effect, like a lot of it was CGI, right? Like when he pops out of the screen and whatnot, and he's like really big and shit. Like that was like, it almost felt too cartoony though. Like I wasn't really scared of it. I was like, oh, like whatever. But like the guy himself, Skarsgård, I forget his first name. He did really well. Like even the first scene with him with like the Georgie looking down in the sewer, and just like how off he was. We were like. And it was like little details with him too, where like at first when you first see him, his eyes are normal, and then like every time they sort of go, like they cut to the kid and then they cut back to this clown, the eyes would slowly like start getting weirder and weirder, and then they started glowing orange and shit. You're like, oh, this is really
Starting
cool.
to lose it.
Yeah.
I love that deadpan. He just
where
he
he's
just
like,
stares, then he snaps into it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so sick.
because he's like almost distracted by like how close he is to
And
getting
then
a
the
kid.
spit coming down. That was a little thing too that added to show up.
There's like little details with Pennywise that I did really like, but like with all of his like when he comes out of the cupboard and he like contorts himself.
That was really cool.
That was cool, but that was another part where I felt like I could have been more scared, but because it was so CGI and stuff, it like didn't seem as scary. The one part I did find really creepy was when Bev wakes up like down like underground, and he's like dancing
looking like Genie after in the Chamber of Secrets, right?
Yeah. And like and then like Pennywise starts to like dancing and like the camera's shaking and stuff. I was like, oh, that's creepy. But there wasn't a lot of moments for
that. Reminded me of, you ever been to Great America for Fright Fest?
No, I haven't.
Oh, they have like I think, or Six Flags, one of those, but they have a haunted carnival, and it hella reminds me of like all crazy clowns and shit. It reminds me a lot of that.
Okay. The one thing I did find creepy was the Stanley, the Jewish kid, like the painting that like the woman, like the all like contorted face.
Yeah.
She was really creepy. And like when they find her like chewing on his face and stuff, I was like, oh god, and like I thought he was dead. I was like, that kid's over. And then she like
Definitely
runs away for some reason, and I don't like that was another thing where it was like I felt like every scene of the kids and the monster, I thought the monster was in control, but then like sometimes the monster would back away for like some reason. I was like, are you really that scared of like a couple of kids? Like, all right, like you're able to like put images in their head and all this stuff, but you can't like take them on like in a physical fight. All right. There was like little moments like that where I'm like, all right, whatever. But for the most part, I really, really enjoyed it.
Is it because he was just trying to straight build up fear and not eat them and just get the fear going?
Maybe. Like they didn't really explain it well of like the monster feeds off of fear and not like particularly the kids themselves. So it might have been that where it's like maybe he was just trying to creep them out to get more of the fear out of them. But yeah, I'm not too sure.
I didn't like most of anything that happened after they got out of the sewer.
So what happens?
So like the fact that she
sewer?
moves away, I'm like,
Yeah.
you didn't have to explain that they separate. Like I feel like it's
could've
kind of
just
like
happened.
and cutting their hands.
Yeah.
I was like, especially with that kid being scared of shit, like overcoming your fear, then now sharing blood with each other, like that's two different things.
But
man.
I think like that was a little like all right, like
And then
they made a joke
on his
about age.
face, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was
Like-
really weird. It was like they made a joke about age earlier on in the movie where he's like, my aunt touched a pole and she got it, and I was
AIDS.
like, all right, like that's not a realistic way to get AIDS. But then you're all sharing like blood with each other. It's like that's how that's sort of like a way to get diseases from other people and shit. So I was like, how are you not scared of that? And then where she like is like holding his head is like while she kisses him, it's like you're getting the hell of blood on this kid's face, dude. It's like what is
And I
wrong
don't
with
like
you?
that how they just embraced blood at that point. Like that's not,
it was like a little
it's not for
unnecessary.
me.
I think the cutting the hand scene was supposed to be a replacement for what actually happens in the book, which I don't want. What?
The blood.
Oh, the blood, it does happen in the book. Okay, so I guess they just took out that other scene that I won't mention here. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It's the sex scene.
Yeah, dude, it would take you so out of the moment. I'm happy that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I was already kind of getting iffy about like, I feel like she's playing
Like
Ben's
both,
the big guy or whoever.
Yeah.
I feel like she, but I guess it's all on him.
I think it was like for her. I think it was like she was emotional, like sort of like emotionally attracted to Ben because of like the poem and stuff. But I think she was like sort of more physically attracted to Bill, like the main kid and stuff. So yeah, it was like one of those weird things.
Did she seem like 2 years, 3 years older than them?
She did seem way older than them, and I think
at
like
first when she was being nice, I was like, they're getting their hopes up. And then once
she started hanging out,
flirting, I was like, this little creeper girl. The neighborhood sounds like they got it right about her.
Yeah.
Like she's just going from group to group, chilling.
Yeah, I think I forget what it is in the books, but like the bullies are definitely like I think like 2 years older than they are, and I think she might be in between. I think she might be just a year older than they are. But she does
did
say
did the bully fuck her?
No, I don't think no.
So he was just talking shit and she didn't correct him?
Yeah, exactly.
I wish they went into more detail like why she's known as such a slut or whatever.
Yeah, that was really weird. And one of the critiques someone had last night about the movie was how like rapey everybody was sort of towards her, and not even like just the characters, but like just weird shots of her, like when they're like she's in like the bra and
just
like
staring at her.
Yeah, and then it was like that was like a sort of weird.
Like, I feel like that's the exact thing the kid who's scared of getting sick, his mom was tripping out about, and she's like, it's not like that. It's like, nah, it was. It kind of is like that.
Yeah, it was a little weird. Like even like I think the scariest thing in the movie, honestly, is when she's flirting with the pharmacist. She's like, "Oh, you look like Clark Kent," and then she puts on the glasses. She's like, "Oh, you look like Lois Lane." It's like, "Oh, don't be creeping. You're hella old." Like that's so creepy. I don't like how they depict pharmacists in that movie. It was not right.
Not cool. I didn't think about that, but yeah, you're right.
I also liked the scene where like the kids are like who has the broken arm goes and she's like, your pills are bullshit, right? They're all placebo. He's like, what's placebo? It's bullshit. It's what it is.
And he's like, man, you gave me some gazebos, man. It's fucking bullshit. I like how she caught a tag on him.
Yeah,
shout her out. Yeah, that was cool.
She put loser and then like he puts over it like V for lover. And I thought like that kid's mom was like, she was creepy for a second, but then like they took away for it because she was like, where he's like placebos are bullshit and he throws down the pills and then she like looks up like hella like creepily and stuff and I was like, oh, the mom's mom's possessed or something.
Yeah.
And then he like walks out and she's like, oh no, don't leave. And it was really weird because I expected like another sort of like, oh, she's gonna try to go after him, but she doesn't.
So the dad of the girl is rapey.
Yes.
The mom's just kind of creepy.
I think
she's definitely weird
and like overprotective of him. Yeah.
Yeah, but the pills though, what the like? I don't.
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about.
That's to
weird.
Convince him that he's sick. So then
he couldn't like really go out and shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It was weird. And then the main dude.
I think
the other dude didn't have parents because they burned.
Yeah.
Main dude.
I forget what his fear was. It was like maybe because like all he saw, like his vision was only Georgie. Like they didn't really show like a fear or anything. So maybe his fear was just never being able to see his brother again or something.
Yeah.
Because like when all the kids get visions, it's like Mike sees like the hands burning. The kid with asthma sees the leper, which is all about disease and stuff, and then the kid with the glasses who's from Stranger Things like sees all the clowns in the room. That was a fucked up scene.
His parents are the only ones that aren't fucked up, right?
I think
like personality wise.
Yeah, I think so. Like the main kid and also the kid with the glasses too. We didn't really see his parents or anything, so like I think yeah, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we didn't really see like not every kid had like a moment. Like the kid like with the glasses did go in to like see all the clowns and stuff, and that was creepy. But there wasn't really a relationship with his parents.
This
and then,
is a little too critiquey, but I still think I thought him being afraid of clowns was kind of random.
Yeah,
and just his personality wise, when you're talking to him, he seemed pretty like well
like
adjusted.
chill, and it's just like he's like fucking around all the time.
Like spiders or something would make sense.
Yeah, because like. It's funny because part of their group, he is the clown, he's like the guy cracking jokes and stuff all the time. So it was like, it was weird that he was afraid of clowns. And I think that was just so they could have that scene where he walks into the room and it's like all the clowns and stuff. I did like the sort of like building up to like where he finds the paper of him already missing. And then and then he goes into that room and like the coffin opens up and he's like found. and then he.
Well, in the original one, they had did they have one of the characters on the movie? Where it says the next movie playing?
Oh yeah.
They had him alive and then dead. So it's kind of like
so.
that.
Yeah, it was sort of like that.
And then so also for the blood in the bathroom, you said it reminds you of The Shining, and it probably is that's probably some inside shit.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of straight out of a Freddy Krueger movie. And I'm like, dude, this is definitely a Freddy Krueger movie. And then the movie theater was saying it was playing Freddy Krueger 5, and I was like, I wonder if that's the one I was thinking about. So I need to go back and check.
I did like you sort of saw the movie theater playing stuff like all the time, like Nightmare on Elm Street and then like Batman and all this stuff. I was like, that's cool, like paying a little homages. I thought it was, someone else pointed out last night that was like, it was weird that they're dealing with a clown and none of them brought up the Joker or anything because Batman had just come out, so it was like none of them made a joke about like the Joker coming after them or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like little
but when I look
things.
at that, I still don't I would never think of the Joker.
Yeah.
I'd have to reference like, oh yeah, he is a clown, but he's his own fucking league.
He's his own entity of just weird and fucked up. So yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I would say so. I would recommend seeing it. It's not as scary as I thought it was going to be because like I usually don't get scared in like scary movies. Like the last scary movie I think that like really messed with me. I think I was like 7 or 8 years old when I saw. I always forget the name of it. It's the one with the kid who was like the devil's child or something.
Hello, Nikki.
It was like it's an old school one. Damien. No,
The Omen.
The Omen. There you go. Yeah, The Omen. That one really messed me up as a kid.
Yeah.
And then ever since then,
South Park's ruined it for me. I can't even take it serious no more.
And then ever since then, like every scary movie I've seen, I'm like, this is like fine. It's cool, but like I'm not scared.
Yeah.
Like I remember seeing The Ring, and I was like, everybody was like, "Oh, The Ring is so scary." And I was like, "This is whatever."
And then Grudge and all that. And it's like, nah, man.
And then like I would watch The Ring, and then like I would watch a Scary Movie 3 where they make fun of The Ring and stuff, where she comes out of the TV,
Yeah.
starts like fist fighting the girl and whatnot. And I was like, yeah, this is funny and whatever. But like scary movies themselves, I'm like this is cool, but like I'm not getting the thrill that like I thought I would be,
Yeah.
Like I would get like I would get like a little like not scared, but like sort of excited, like my heartbeat would go up like leading up to like the monster coming, or just because the anticipation, right? It's like sort of going up a roller coaster where you're like sort of just waiting, like going up, and you're like, oh shit, it's gonna happen, and then it would happen and be like, oh, that's not that bad. So
I've always liked the Halloween movies. They always stand out to me ever since I was younger, just because he was a savage. He didn't really have a reason. He just going at it.
And that's sort
like
of
that.
That's sort of like that's my problem with a lot of scary movies is like they always explain things in like the last part of the movie where it's like, oh, this is like all of the motivation of why this monster or serial killer is doing this or whatever, right? But yeah, I do like those movies where it's just happening. There's not really a rhyme or reason.
I think when I was younger, I watched. I think it was Halloween H2O.
Okay.
It might have been the one before that, but it was a scene where I think he kills the doctor that's been chasing him all these goddamn years.
Okay.
And he like smashes him against a security fence. He basically gets pushed through the fence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That scene scared the shit out of me when I was younger. And then Leprechauns in the Hood. You ever see that?
Man, yeah.
That shit scared the shit out of me when I was younger. And so those two are the only movies that I would say scared me. Besides that, nothing. I had like nightmares for weeks after I watched Eight-Legged Freaks. That wasn't much of a horror movie, but it scared that and Like Mike in the same sitting, bro. Oh, it was a good time.
Like
good
Mike,
day, dude.
Hell yeah, dude.
That was a fucking great day.
Or he finds like the shoes on like the wire,
Yeah,
right? Holy
yeah, dude.
shit! And that was Lil Bow Wow. God, wow, that's a
That shit
trip.
was awesome. Yeah.
That's a trip. We got to talk about more old school movies in a little bit, but
I wanted to throw on it, not right now, but have you already talked about Death Note?
we haven't.
Okay, so
We can let's wrap up this segment. It's spoilers ending now. We liked it. I really enjoyed it. It was like probably one of the best shot movies this year. It was like this and Get Out. Did you see Get Out?
I haven't. No.
That's another one that's like wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. It was more of like a psychological sort of thing, but it was also just shot really well. One more thing I wanted to say about horror stuff is the thing that always scared me as a kid was not like any movies or anything, but Goosebumps. Reading the Goosebumps books, because they weren't like gore, scary or anything. They were just like sort of like they fucked with you. It was like Twilight Zone almost for kids. So it was like, oh man, like I can't I can't deal with the fact of like being invisible and like the actual like problems that you'd face like dealing with that and stuff.
Yeah,
That was like type
not
of stuff
today, but I
that's-
would love to talk about like the best Goosebumps like
Hell
books
yeah.
and episodes.
We'll bring
I
you
watch
back.
the show a lot.
Yeah.
Just that and Magic School Bus just in the morning when I'm
Hell
getting ready.
yes.
So like every morning it's on. I'm not really paying attention, but enough of the
Magic
references
School
to
Bus.
remember.
Yeah. So let's talk about Death Note.
Have you
for a
ever
minute.
watched Truth or Scare
No.
with fuck what was that?
Was that Nickelodeon?
I don't remember, man. But it was
Yeah.
awesome. Fuck, I'm gonna Google it after
Okay.
this. Yeah.
So Death Note. Did you watch the original series?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I think I've seen everything, but I just never read it.
Okay.
You know.
And then you watched the new Netflix movie or whatever?
Yeah. That's so. The thing with me is Tim was telling me to get into Death Note and Code Geass for years,
Code
and I was
Geass,
just like,
okay.
dude, like I'm not trying to like sound like a dick, but it's just something about anime and like samurais and like the Japanese culture, the way they push it like that. It was just like it's never been my thing. I've never really been into it, so I was like, I can't do it. And the way it looks kind of just hurts my eyes. I'm not with it.
Yeah.
But he was like, dude, you have to like just watch one episode with me, and this was back when he lived with me, so we were in his closet, which literally was a fucking closet. So we were sitting on his bed. Watching this shit, and like 2 episodes in, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fucking hooked, dude.
Yeah.
So since then, I've probably watched the whole series like 3 or 4 times.
Dope.
Then we watched the Japanese movie they made.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
Like
I'm
a
talking about the
couple
live
years
action
back.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we watched that one, and then so since then I've been hooked. So when I found out about this Netflix movie, I was just kind of like, you know, I'm cool with anything they put out.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. Like I'm just
Yeah.
happy like it's in the conversation
Just like,
again.
yeah, it's
you
just
know?
more of it. So how did you like the movie?
I liked it. I didn't
Okay.
like the ending so much.
Okay.
I was kind of like, it just didn't seem very realistic to me in the sense of like how he was tricking her and everything. He seemed a little too, I don't know, emotionally like open, like too needy almost. I don't really know. Like it was too surrounded. Like he seemed
Like the
so
lead kid,
intelligent.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, the lead dude, like, and how he like at the end of it kind of all circulates around the girl and her decision and everything.
Yeah.
I just felt like I got that he was emotional, but also the light I know was like a fucking genius.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know.
That's the complaint I've heard a lot. Like, not even just like it's all like white people cast and whatnot, except for
like I know I'm a white guy, but I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
Like that's something that goes over my head.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have noticed. I mean, I would have noticed they weren't Asian, but I
Yeah.
would have just think that's it's a different story.
it's like
whatever.
it's like Hollywood and stuff. It's like it sucks. Like I would like to see like more like sort of pay more homage to like the original like content, but it's just like it's one of those things we're gonna have to deal with for a little bit, and then hopefully it'll be better.
And
like
like
casting.
when I saw the Japanese, I think it's Japanese, the Japanese movie they made before.
Yeah.
I thought those characters were spot on.
Yeah.
Like I really liked how they
Like
nailed
how they
it.
wrote 'em out and stuff.
So it's like I kind of already saw it, so I don't really care. You know.
Yeah. How did I haven't watched it yet, but how is the what's the monster guy's name? Ryuk.
Right, Ryuk?
Yeah.
But you haven't watched the show yet?
No, I watched the movie.
Movie? Oh
Yeah,
shit!
Yeah.
Oh,
I haven't
okay.
watched that yet. But how is Ryuk in the movie?
Yeah, I like it. I think they nailed it.
Cool.
Nailed him.
I remember seeing him in trailers. I was like, oh, he looks awesome. And like the guy who voices him is the guy who played Green Goblin in Spider-Man 1 like hella long ago.
I see in the face almost.
yeah.
I can almost see it, man. But he tweeted at me and he said he'll give me the pen to write the book next. Yeah, a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
All right,
Ryuk.
so who are we writing in this book, man? Like whose name are we writing in this book?
You can't tell him. All the other podcasts, not ours though.
Well, that's cool. It's cool that you liked it because like a lot of people have been hating on it, but it's cool. Like beside it, like you sort of took all that out and you just
I kind of
watched
went
for your
into
own.
it the same way I went into the Goosebumps movie, where I was just like, I'm gonna like this no matter what.
It's gonna be
But then
fun.
I'm not gonna kill it for myself because I'm not. I don't expect shit from it. You know.
And that's what I like about you. It's like you're just like you're positive. You're definitely like the Gettys like brother mantra is basically just be positive and like
Man,
what
just
you
go
like.
with it, dude. Yeah,
exactly.
just own it.
And that's why like again I fucks with Cool Greg.
Hell yeah, appreciate it.
So at this part of the show, we usually sort of get into the topic of the show. Sean and I will usually talk about a big game or like a movie that's come out, but since we have a guest, usually when I have a guest on, the topic of the show is the guest. So, topic of the show, Greg motherfucking Gettys.
What's happening? Okay.
So you've been working at Kind of Funny for most of this year, right?
Yeah.
And so what has it been like so far? Like working for Kind of Funny, like how has that been so far?
Man, I'm learning every day.
Yeah. So before we get like how it's been and like what it's been like what do you do there? Like what is sort of like your day to day like at the office?
So I think my title is production assistant. Okay. We don't really go by that. You know, it doesn't come up often, but I'm pretty sure that's what they consider me. You know, I clock in. I mean, not clock in. I get to work. Yeah. I set up the set, which is already usually set up, but you know, you need to get Twitch up and running. You need to put the right lenses on, make sure the background's right. Cool. All those little things, you know, and then make sure the mics are up, make sure everything's clean. Cool. All those things. And then while they're doing the show, lately I've been behind control. So I've just been Kevin's been teaching me how to like do the switch, do the audio board, all of that. That's cool. Then now that Kevin's gone, and it's basically I'm Kevin's assistant. Yeah. Because Kevin's everybody doesn't listen to Kevin, but Kevin's he knows what everyone's doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? He knows what Nick's working on. He knows what Greg's working on, all those things, you know. So he has his head wrapped around all of it.
What he used to do at IGN, which was like sort of syndication. He's almost doing that, where he's like sort of like seeing like where everything's going.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I would say he's like the supervisor of the office almost. And so he's been teaching me he taught me how to upload it now. So now I'm putting it on YouTube and all the other different podcasts like SoundCloud. Check us out. Patreon. Check us out. So, but
Patreon.com/kindafunny.
There we go. And so now I'm putting up the morning shows and all the podcasts that we do live on Twitch just straight up. And then when we do GOG and all those, I got to edit those. Okay. So from when I first got hired, they already had me editing, which none of us expected. Yeah. You know, like when I was first getting hired, they thought I was just only going to do labor work kind of thing. Like production. But within a week, like same thing with Andy, within a week he was on camera. Yeah. Like, you know, like, so like it's cool. Yeah. Man.
You guys are definitely like sort of like constantly changing, which is like something I've always sort of liked, where it's like you guys are just going with the flow and seeing like what works and what doesn't and stuff.
It's been kind of weird trying to like stream on my own on Twitch now that I know how to do it, and just trying to find a grasp of where like the quality of the content compared to the quantity, right? Where I'm just like,
you don't want to do it like too much.
8 at night, where we wouldn't be doing anything right now. Do y'all want to hang out while I play hit and run? Let's do it. But then some people see it as like, well, this is what I'm donating to. Like, this is what I don't want to support. This isn't what I like. This and that. So I'm trying to make sure everyone doesn't get annoyed. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand there's like stars of the show, and I'm just trying to hang out. I don't want to entertain.
And I think that's fair. Like, I think for like the core audience, like I think that's like a cool thing. Where it's like getting to hang out with like Cool Greg while playing like hit and run and like skateboarding games and all that stuff. Like I think that's cool, and like I just have time to like Fredo and stuff, or like. Let's do a random stream right now, you know, just like chill out and like not like let's not have it be like this whole serious thing, and that's what I dig about it. And like you started like doing it just Instagram, and then you started sort of moving it over to Twitch and stuff.
Which is hella different. Yeah. Like I never thought about like Instagram only has people that follow me watching. Yeah. So they at least can put up with me, even if they're not like I'm not their favorite person. They at least want to see what's up with Kind of Funny or whatever. And
I'll pop in every once in a while.
Twitch is like.
Well, yeah, because like you might be promoted somewhere.
People will hop in and say like, nope. People hop out like, who the fuck is this? And hop out. I'm just like, shit, it's not as positive no more, you know? But for the most part, everybody on Twitch during my streams are great, you know? But it's just, you know how human nature is. The few ones that hop out, they point at, you know, it's like kind of ruins your vibe.
It's sort of like what you got to deal with on the internet and stuff. Like I've put out so many videos where people are like, this guy sucks at games and stuff. And just, you gotta just keep going. Just, you know what? Skate better, you know?
But not to be like, I don't even know what the word is, like an elitist or cocky or anything, but it's just like I think Kind of Funny has, you know, not to self promote, like one of the greatest communities on the internet that I've ever seen. Community is
awesome.
Like I had like just like a year ago, I had maybe 200 followers on Instagram, and it's all people that know me by name. I see them and I hang out with them and everything, you know, and like I still love them, they love me, whatever. But since I've had the Kind of Funny community in my life, every time I log on to Instagram, it's positivity. Like somebody is telling me like, hey dude, cool job. Like, or something like, hey man, you know, I bought this. I was watching wrestling. I thought of you. Here's a picture of me drinking. Yeah. And I just get selfies, people drinking. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's actually, it's positive and it's cool, you know? And it's weird, you know? I hope I don't get too used to it. Because once it's all gone, I'm just going to hit up my friends. Like, what's up? He's like, man, why are you calling so late? And I'm just like, all right then, bruh.
So what's it been like? So have you like, were you editing before Kind of Funny at all, or doing any like were you experienced?
Like I got that stuff. Random, you know, I had like really bad jobs for the most part, but I've always done well at the jobs I've gotten. You know, so I got a little bit of a.
I don't know if any job is a bad job. A job is a job, though.
Yeah. Okay. So that's fair. That's fair. But like so right before I was at Kind of Funny, or in that process, I was cutting fish over at the market with a bunch of people that didn't speak English, and like to me that was like a damn. bro. Like 6'4", you know, I got so much attributes that can like help. You know what I mean? So I'm like, shit, y'all got me doing this bullshit, you know? But it's like, I made some stupid choices when I was younger, so I got a record, so I couldn't get out of that, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, whatever. I was just playing the cards that I was dealt. And randomly, Alexis, Let's Get Lexi, you know, Pina Mob, she hits me up in an email. I don't even have a phone. She hits me up in an email and it's like, hey, I got your email through Tim. I got all this cool ass Harry Potter stuff. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah, dude. So I get a fucking huge box, like not like a small box, like a huge fucking box full of shit. And it says from Hogwarts. So this is like weeks later, like a week later. So I kind of forgot, you know, I was like, oh shit, you know, open it up. There's hella cool things in it. So I hit her up like, hey, because I knew her very little. Like I've seen her maybe like 5 times. Every time, same thing with Game Over Greggy. I just knew they were Tim's life, but you know, he was doing his own thing at IGN. And I was like, okay, hit her up in the email, like, hey, can I come say thank you or whatever? She's like, yeah, here's my address, whatever. So went to her house and it's like security and shit. And I'm like,
damn, okay.
What the fuck? You know what I mean? So end up talking to her, and then randomly as fuck, I find out she's like married to or engaged to a Hunter Pence off the Giants, who I wasn't familiar with at the time. I knew he did a song with Tim, but I had never, like, maybe I saw the video once or twice, but I wasn't, you know, it wasn't like my thing. And exactly. So we all, I think, went out to eat, or maybe we ate there or something. And she was like, hey, I actually do this channel, Let's Get Lexi. I'm like, what the fuck? You make videos too? You know, that was the beginning of everybody happens to be doing something in my life. Exactly. And so we started talking. And by the end of the day, she's like, hey, can you come work for me tomorrow? And then the next day, and then it kept going. She's like, hey, do you want to be my personal assistant? And I'm like, hell the fuck yeah, I want to be a personal assistant, dude. I don't want to cut no more goddamn fish. And yeah, so I ended up working with her, and that's been a lot of fun because we were really just like a 3-man team just trying to figure it out. Not Hunter. I mean, Hunter's in on it, but she had another assistant who was like more of the technical contracts, that shit that actually needs to get important, you know, done. I was more of like the entertainment side, like, all right, make sure out, like what do you want to do? Let's go fuck around, make some videos, make some jokes. And yeah, I have a cameo in one of her videos called Hunter Pence Changes His Last Name. I'm in that with my boys to pretend to be fans and shit. So, like, you know, it was a lot of fun. And so I stopped doing that because of just timing and scheduling and all that. So that stopped working out. And I don't want to go into details, but some bullshit happened to me in my life that was out of my hands. Bullshit. And then Tim, I think, brought up on the story. He was just complaining about it on the show. And then he just calls me up. Was like, hey, dude, just come through tomorrow. Like, I think it was Kevin. Was like, hey, dude, just come through tomorrow. Let's just go to eat. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And then when I'm there, he's like, hey, we have like maybe like 50 cardboards. We need you to break and cut. Yeah. We'll pay you whatever, like whatever, but can you do it? And I was like, yeah, dude. So they gave me like a razor blade. I just did that. Then a couple of days later, I go back to eat, you know, just hanging out with everybody. We just chilling. This is when they were at their old studio, the house or whatever. And yeah, eventually they were just like, oh shit, I think Kevin might need like some more help. It'd be cool if, I think P.S. I Love You had stopped recording right at this point. So then I don't think Greg was editing anymore. So he was just doing the whole talent thing. So now it was all on Kevin. So he was like, you know, it'd be cool to split up what he's doing so we can focus on more all the production and just not only the editing, you know, and make sure Andy has time to do his cool edits, like the important shit. So yeah, they are just like, hey man, do you want this life-changing thing to happen? I'm like, yeah, dude, let's fucking do it, you know? And I don't think it was weird. I'm kind of going out of order, but it was weird because like before, when I was still with Let's Get Lexi, like the conversation of me working at Kind of Funny, it wasn't even in the conversation. Like none of us. Like Tim was always like, I got you, like want a little bit of money here and there, but he's like, I can't give you a job. Like, and I'm like, I understand, I'm your felon brother. It's bad on 2 levels. Like I get that, but eventually Game Over Greggy and us, we had our own relationship, you know what I mean? Not just like a hi and bye thing. We actually talked about wrestling or whatever. Exactly. And he's like, dude, you're way more interesting than I expected. Like, do you want to be on the show one time? And I was just like, for sure, bro. And so like that was almost like the job interview, which I didn't know at the time. But he was just really feeling me out, and like, you know, I got
that sneaky Greg Miller.
Yeah, like he's never phrased it like that, but I was very authentic on that, and I said about a bunch of things that aren't like, you know, great kind of funny content. But it was still like, it was people took well to it.
It was like getting to know you, and sort of like, again, it's like you're genuine and you're real, and so I think when people detect that, I think that's why they get like really interested. It's like, oh, like this, he's just telling about himself, and it's really cool, and it's down to earth.
So yeah, it's been fucking awesome, dude. Like every day, I'm like, I mess up. Gamescast got uploaded to the wrong channel yesterday, and Greg's just like, dude, no worry, you're good. You're good. Like, we're throwing you in the deep end. Like, don't fucking worry about it. But I'm still there like, you fucking had one job, Greg. Like, you just had one fucking job to do.
Like, this week, it's not like you had one job, you know? You're doing Kevin's gone fucking around in Hawaii riding.
So that's new to me too, is because everything I do at Kind of Funny, it's his job to double check.
Yeah.
So it's like, even if my job's to put the lens on, he makes sure I actually had it in focus. And if it's not, then it kind of comes down on him. Even though that's not how we work. We don't come down on anyone. Yeah. But, he would feel responsible because he's like, fuck, I should have checked. Yeah. Like, I know he would think that. Yeah. So this was like, I'm editing it and I'm like, hey, it's ready to go up. They're like, all right, put it up. And I'm like, oh shit, does Craigie check it? Who the fuck checks it? Like, do I check it? Because I think it's right always, but sometimes there's shit wrong. So yeah.
It might have been good experience for you to like sort of like take off the sort of not training wheels, but sort of like throw you in the deep end to sort of build up a sort of routine and stuff to like
we had one issue that we didn't expect was the lower thirds. Yeah. Nick and Kevin make those. Okay. And they're not here right now. Okay. I think it was Anthony Carboni was supposed to be on the show, or maybe we thought he was going to be on the show. I don't really know exactly what happened.
We took him from you on Thursday. He was scheduled for up at noon, and you guys had him twice already that week. So we're like, we're going to take him for a day. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let that one go. But I like Sean Finnegan. He got a good pull with me, so I'm not too mad at IGN. Okay. But sorry, I'm thrown off. I forgot what to say. Oh yeah, so we didn't
lower thirds.
Yeah, we didn't have. He wasn't there no more. Okay. So I was like, oh shit. And I think Joey or Andrea, one of them. Okay. Andrea jumped on camera for him. So Greg just wrote it down on a piece of paper, took a picture, sent it to me, and I was like, so I got to figure out how to put this shit up there because that's like new to me too. Yeah. So I was just like, all right, how am I gonna do this? And it's like the lower third is literally just his writing. So I'm like, all right, dude, like let's go for it. So it's like that was all new, So like that was cool.
Yeah, it's like that's like one of the best things is sort of like just doing unexpected things. So it's like you learn a lot like that,
I had to export Gamescast 3 times to like literally like 5 hours because so it would fully export and then it would not work, and then I'd be like, Andy, what's going on? And we try to figure it out. We couldn't figure it out. Apparently, there was no space on the desktop to where I was saving it, but it wasn't telling me. It was just not saving, So it would do the whole rendering or whatever, and then just not work.
We were with Joey the other night when you called her, and I think it was our buddy Zach Ryan who was like, it's probably this. And that's what Joey, I think, said to you or whatever. And it was like,
I think Andy was in charge at that point because I was like, I had no fucking idea what was going on, dude.
I think Joey like texted like the sort of solution or whatever.
Yeah, so that's the night I ended up going to the wrong channel after fucking 5 hours of effort.
But yeah, it was a long night. You're trying to get something done. It was stressful. 100%. So whatever, man. It's all good. Whatever. So what was if I understand this correctly, you're working with Lexi for a little bit, and then you stopped working with Lexi.
Yeah,
and then
I think she moved to Houston. They moved over to Houston for spring training.
Okay,
so I think that's what happened.
Okay, and then stopped working for her for a little bit, and then like what was the time space between stop working for Lexi and then started working for Kind of Funny? Like how much time was in between that?
Well, it was like, I'd say tops a month.
Okay.
But it was like a real questionable month. Like just, I was downtown and I rapped this group and we were downtown or whatever and we got into some bullshit and my man ended up getting jumped in front of me by people I'm really close with. And I was like, it would just hit me really hard because like, damn, I'm really disappointed in everybody in this fucking situation. Yeah. Especially with me starting to do the Kind of Funny shit. And it's like, we've been making music for so long. We finally have an audience to put it out to casually, So it's like I was kind of like feeling like, dude, you guys are burning bridges right now with the wrong people, the people that are gonna get us out of here, So I was like, fucking up, man. So I was talking to Tim about that, and it ended really badly. So I was like, kind of worried, kind of scared. And it was the night of. I called him like 2 a.m, like right when the shit was done. I'm like, dude, shit hit the fan. Shit, we got to do shit. So like a couple days later, he's like, we need to change. You know what I mean? And he's like, I know you're like better than this, but you just have no options right now. And he's like, I think you have a strong enough relationship with everybody at Kind of Funny where they trust you. They know you're loyal and they know you wouldn't do anything wrong to the company. Yeah. So he's like, I think we have something to go off right here.
Okay.
So
that's cool. So what was You were trying to get into sort of like the rap scene and do stuff with like music, or
it was like mainly we're just fucking around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we've just been making music together for so long now, and we just are never gonna give up. So it's kind of just fun to do.
So was it hard to leave sort of like even though you're fucking around and like you do have like a love for music, you talk about Jay-Z all the time and stuff on Instagram and stuff. Was it hard to sort of go away from that passion to start like working for Kind of Funny, or
nah? Because even in 8th grade, I never took music serious. I always knew I was gonna do it for the rest of my life. It's kind of like with art too. Like I always knew I was gonna do these things, but it's like just that life I didn't want. Like I would never, like Tim said on the show before, where he's in talking about Nick's stand up, where he's like, Nick, like I can almost appreciate what you're trying to do, the badass route, and just start from the bottom. Yeah, but it's like you have a name, use your name. Why do you go to like smaller clubs if you can do a bigger club? And like that's his mindset on it, and that's kind of what I go into it too, where like I couldn't see myself ever opening at some club, or you know, respect to the people that do it, but it's just like I couldn't do that, and I don't want to do that, you know. So it's just if I put out music, it's cool for like on my Twitter when I just put out little punchlines that are funny and just little rhymes or whatever, because like it's to the people that might get it, it's the people that would care. It's all in perspective, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to just go out there and be like a musician, maybe like a ghostwriter. I could do that, and I could like put my heart into that or something.
That's cool. So what sort of made you like, obviously like you grew up with Kevin and Tim, and I don't know how you grew up with Kevin. That man's a maniac. So like you grew up with them, and they're always like at one point like they start doing like making funny videos and stuff, and like when they started doing that, did that like get you interested in like at all like what they were doing, or like did you see yourself like going into that at all like growing up? Or
well, like back so my house, we used to live in the Richmond district, right in this area. It was kind of the house that all the kids went to, you know, like all of my friends and all my brother's friends. So on a daily basis, Alfredo was there playing Counter-Strike, and all my friends had real relationships with Alfredo. Like you can name all of them. They probably have each other's numbers still, you know. And they'd play games together, Smash Bros, Halo, all the shit. So we would just all kind of like, we were a group with two separate groups in them, but even with me and Tim not in the question, they were online playing video games together. Even though me and Tim didn't do it online, you know. So it's like they had their own relationship. And like I remember a few times like we'd go on vacation and Tim would walk around in a thong with my friend True, and I would be the cameraman for that, and that's like 7th grade maybe. And you know, we keep going, and this girl that my man True's ex-girlfriend, actually, but we went to middle school with her. It was like, now it was our first year of high school, and she goes missing, and I actually don't know what the fuck ever happened to her. But so then we, for some reason, we were in 7-Eleven and we see a missing sign for her. We're like, what the fuck? And randomly as fuck, Tim just has a camera, and we're all deep, and we're just like, hey, let's make a movie about finding her. And then we just start shooting. My man acts as if he's Kanye West, and then we just go throughout like the Presidio and like weird shit, dude, really weird shit. The movie didn't make sense. It ends with like a Saw twist ending. It might still be on YouTube, I'm not sure. It was called the Search for Jocelyn. And so we've always been making these dumbass videos, and it's always been on the go, you know. So when Tim started the whole Tim Gettys is basically famous on the internet. You know, I was already kind of aware. You know what I mean? Like I always knew the direction. Like on my birthday, he had us win the little talent show for some Mario shit, and I was like a ball of fire. That one like viral.
I remember seeing that like when it was popular, and then like I remember watching like an episode of KF like a year or two ago where he brings it up, and like,
you're like, what the fuck?
And then I looked it up, and I was like, holy shit! Like that's you guys. Like that was crazy.
I remember the viral video. As far as I remember, was on someone's like the fan who recorded it. So we're always like, fuck, why wasn't it ours? Like we want that, you know, on our channel. But you know what you gonna do?
That's cool. Like it was like him going through the Mario levels and like all that production. Like how did you help out with that?
Helped make props. You know, I didn't do any of the choreograph. Like I didn't come up with any of the moves, but I was multiple characters in it in all black in the background doing that shit.
That's cool.
So, it was a lot of fun.
And that was on your birthday?
That was on my birthday.
You're a February kid too, right?
23rd.
Okay, cool. I remember February 3rd. So February kids are cool. And so that happens, and then you guys are growing up a little more, and then like Tim goes to state and studying video and all that stuff, and he starts at IGN, and
at that point he'd made like connects with a rapper that I listened to, so I was just like, because they were in the same audio class, and I was just like, bro, like you know people now, like you actually are doing shit, you know, and then he fucking keeps it pushing. I think once he got hired at IGN, that's when I was like, oh this is like, fuck, you're like a big time. So like it went from like, oh yeah, he's gonna make it one day. It's like, oh yeah, he made it. So it's like he'd call me and tell me things like, he's like, hey, we just interviewed like Chris Jericho. I'd be like, it's cool, like, you know, like, all right, but I kind of like, you know what I mean? It's like it's getting to the point where it's like he's not bragging, he's just keeping me in the loop. But it's just like, dude, you're living like a fucking rock star. Like, you know, I can't tell one impressive thing from the other. Like they're all just blending in.
Yeah. So like, did you at any point were you like, man, I should get in on this, or like were you just like, you're just going with the flow and stuff?
It didn't make any sense to me, bro. I was like, I don't know, I don't get any of it, man. Like I get why the IGN fans like you, the whole let Tim host gimmick thing. Like when Tim and Alfredo were trying to take over IGN, like I was really a part of that, like a lot. So it was like, that was always interesting to me, you know, and the way he got, like, how it all happened, you know. But I was never thinking like, because even now, like you know, it's cool to interview wrestlers and everything, but like, you know, I don't want to be an interviewer, you know what I'm saying? So I'm taking advantage of these moments because they're like,
they're cool.
Like dude, like
you can't not take them. That's cool.
But so like people ask me a lot, like, oh, like, is it like a dream come true? I'm like, I've literally never dreamt about asking these people questions. But it's like I respect the shit out of them. But like their in ring speaks to me enough. They answer the questions. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know, and I just feel weird being 25 and like trying to play by kayfabe, where it's like, do I ask Roman Reigns why he won? Like, what does he say? Does he say because it was in the script, or does he say because like I'm a champion? You know, like all this shit. So it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like I could do it confidently.
Okay.
So, well, you know, play with it.
Yeah, it'll play around with it and like
to focus on. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I can do it, just not to like have it like, oh, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I definitely think I'm sticking with KIF for like the long haul. Yeah. I don't necessarily want like my own podcast or anything like that, but I would love to be
obviously
a part
Zero
of KIF.
Life.
Yeah, I'm full time. You know, like shit's busy enough.
Yeah, exactly. So you're with Kind of Funny for the long haul and all that stuff. So how did it feel going onto the stage for Kind of Funny Live 3? What was that like?
Man, that shit was fucking crazy. Like when they started chanting Cool Greg, that was something I know nobody in the back, like nobody expected, man. I didn't expect that. Tim didn't expect that. Like we knew it was gonna be like, we built it well enough that I was gonna be appreciated or whatever, but I didn't expect to fucking chant. So that was badass.
And then Sasha Banks comes on the video wall.
So one of the artists were running late, right? And Tim was so Tim's like, hey, we're gonna announce you, you know, maybe like a week before Kind of Funny Live. I was like, oh shit, are you fucking serious? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, now you ain't no dirty little secret no more. Because I'm so used to like every job I'm at, they treat me like a little secret, you know? So I'm like, fuck you guys. So like, I'm like, all right, I'm out here. They're really gonna claim me, and I can claim it. And I'm like, but like, I just don't want to have to say anything. He's like, I appreciate you guys, but like, I don't want to have to like say I appreciate you guys, you know, because I don't know how to do that. It
goes without saying. It's sort of that relationship.
So he's like, dude, I know you. Tim's like, I know you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna be fine. Don't even worry about it. Just say thanks or whatever, and you're gonna be good.
Cool.
I'm like, all right. And then the day of show, I'm like, hey Tim, I actually think I want to thank Tone Deaf. Can I thank Tone Deaf because he's actually been hella inspirational and all the shit? And he's just like, yeah, dude, go ahead. Then Tone Deaf had a running late scare. So during show, I'm thinking, fuck, his picture was in the intro. I don't want to bring up attention to him again. Maybe he's running late. We don't know right this second. So I was like, fuck, maybe I shouldn't thank Tone Deaf. So I was like, ran back to Tim 10 minutes before we were up, and I was like, can I thank Sasha instead? And he just starts laughing. It's like, yeah, bro, thanks Sasha. I'm like, all right. So then that's when I go and put on my fucking legit boss brass knucks and go out, and then we're out there or whatever, and I'm just like, thank you. And then I say the whole thing, and I'm like, damn, like I didn't know what to do. So I was like, I just kept talking and shit, and like then I didn't expect to say any of that other than the end where I was like, all right, thank you to my family, thank you to my Kind of Funny folk, thank you to my squad, and thank you Sasha Banks. That's all I knew I was gonna say. And then it turned into like something a little bit more. I had like the little mob joke. I forgot what it was, but I made some joke which I was proud of.
I do remember you saying like, I'm not gonna let you guys down, and like that was the moment where I was like, Cool Greg's fucking like, you're genuine and you're heartfelt,
dude. I'm so happy it sounded good. It could have been like, you know, I fuck with y'all, you know, but like it happened to be something that was real, and that's what I was telling him. I was like, I don't think I can plan that moment. So don't put me in that moment. But he thought, you know, I walked into it thinking I wasn't gonna have it, and ended up having it, so it worked out. And then thanking Sasha, and then Tim's like, speaking of Sasha, I'm like, what? Like that, like. because I know what Tim's capable of. So
Yeah.
at that moment, I was like, is Sasha coming the fuck out here right now? And then
The video comes
yeah,
up.
the video wall comes up, and I'm like, this is even better. I can keep this. Like, I can have this.
Yeah.
This can be I can put this on my wall if I want, dude. You know, like, this is great. So I was like, oh my God. And then she's speaking. I don't really hear anything other than like, I'm a big fan of yours. I just lost my shit. Like, oh my fucking God. And I think she ends it saying, like, I hope I meet you one day. September 18th, San Jose.
There you go.
I'm going to go meet her. I don't have any way to get out to San Jose other than the train. So I'm going to go on the train Sunday night.
Damn,
Do an
dude.
all-nighter with my man DT, Dante.
Okay.
Bring the spectacle cams and try to do like a little vlog of my all-night endeavor to go meet Sasha. And then after meeting Sasha, I got to kill 5 hours. And then me and Greggy and all them are going to Raw in San Jose. So
cool.
it's like a whole little mission.
All right, man. That's fucking dope.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. Where to go from here? I'm trying to drive this train, and I'm losing the tracks, man. Where are the tracks now? So one of the things you do for kind of funny, or like sort of you did on your Instagram was like stream games, and now you're doing it on Twitch. You do like a lot of old school like PS2 games and whatnot, like Simpsons Hit and Run and shit. Like what was like, you obviously like that like generation of games a lot. Like from that like sort of era, like what are some of your favorite games?
Just thinking back on it, PS2 is definitely my favorite system because I think we might have had two PS2s because we had one modded one.
Oh,
do you remember that? So like it'd come up from the top rather than go out.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So we had that because one of Tim's friends just left it or whatever. So PS2 was the first system I got to have in my own room. So that was the only thing I was on all day. And then I remember the first game I got obsessed with on it was Frogger's Great Quest.
Okay, yeah. I vaguely remember that. Like
I played
cover.
the shit out of that. Like I like everything you could do, I did, and I fucking loved that game. And then from then, I think it went to Grand Theft Auto Need for Speed #1. Fucking loved that game, killed that shit. And then another game I fell in love with was fucking Mark Echo's Getting Up, which I've beaten hundreds of times.
Oh yeah,
and I still play to this day whenever I'm bored.
So is that the what's
graffiti
that
game?
Okay, I've seen you play that on Instagram a couple of times.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to play live though because it's like I don't know. It's
you're just trying to play it.
Like Simpsons, it almost looks like a cartoon while you're watching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just kind of going like it's like fast paced, but that's kind of like more sneaky and like I don't have this whole Twitch thing down, so I need to figure out if that's the right game. Like I felt like the same thing with Harry Potter, where I was like it wasn't the right game to play live.
Okay. Like Simpsons Hit and Run. I went back to that game like a year or two ago, and it's like that one it's not great at points, but it's still like it's fun to go through and like look at and like all the gags that they make and stuff. It's like always entertaining.
Yeah.
You know?
I would love an El Bardo, like a mixture of the Simpsons Hit and Run and Getting Up. You know what I mean? Have him running around catching tags and shit.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would like to see sort of like a Simpsons style game like that, like come out today. That would be cool. And then put in like Bart, like
Nick had this idea one time where he was just going off on his little Nick rants, and he was I'm a paraphrase. I don't remember exactly what he was saying. Well, I'm gonna say what I'm thinking he was saying. It's like, so you take Pokemon Go's idea, like the way they fucking work, the blueprint of that, right?
Yeah.
And then you replace catching Pokemon with catching tags. So you'd have to go to the spot, you take a picture, and before you leave, you'd have to do whatever you're doing. And then I guess you can get points on like how many colors you use, how early it is, how late it is, maybe something like that. You know what I mean? And then click out of it, and then people will see like, oh shit, there's something new, or I don't really know how that'll happen, but then you have to like go there to get it. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't know if it'd be successful or not, but I was like, that'd be kind of cool, you know? But I don't think
because you already have sort of a community that would be into
just be fucking around a little bit on top of what we're just doing normally. Like not how Pokemon Go, like some people go out to play Pokemon Go. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't expect it to be one of those things, just like a casual little app or something, right?
Okay. Yeah, that would be cool. So you're into like all the like that generation of gaming. Did you play like Tony Hawk or anything?
Oh
like
yeah. I played Tony Hawk since PlayStation 1.
Okay.
Right. I played the original.
So like,
N64, I believe is the first
that was
one I was playing.
That was Pro Skater 1, and I think 2 is on there as well.
Yeah, I actually know someone who has graffiti in that.
That's cool.
Yeah, in MQ. Check them out. But yeah. So that's crazy to think. It's like 20 years ago, right?
God, I don't know. I was a little too young for like that part, because like my first Tony Hawk game was Underground, and I loved Underground.
I bought.
I mean, that wasn't like my first one that I played. That was like the one I owned, though. It was like I remember playing around with 3 a lot. That was the one
me
you
and
could play
Tim
Darth
bought.
Maul.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 after 3 had already came out for my friend's birthday, and then I ended up stealing it. True story. Yeah, crazy. Robbed him on his birthday, dude. But yeah, dude. So I loved those. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 is by far my least favorite.
Okay.
Like I think I beat all of them all the way up to Thug. I don't think I beat Wasteland. Is that the next one?
There's Thug 2 and then Wasteland.
You know what? I think I did. Thug 2 was like an orange 2. Yeah, I did beat that one.
And it was like the one where they're like the competition between Tony Hawk and Bam Margera and stuff, and you're on teams and shit.
I don't know. That was number 2?
Yeah.
I think I beat it. But yeah, like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, I got great fucking memories of. That soundtrack gave me music taste.
See, I don't remember the soundtrack of 3 a lot.
Man, it had everything.
I remember the soundtrack of Underground 2 a lot. I remember like I forget the artist names, but like the song like Holy Calamity, Calamity screaming Sandy Doll, you ever gonna be is another great fan of me. Like that song was like ingrained in my brain, and like even then like I wasn't super into hip hop or rap like growing up, but like I fucked with that song. Like whenever that came out, I was like, this is gonna be a good jam right here. And then
I think it was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 gave me Exhibit's Paparazzi, and Tim ended up rapping over that. Later on, he put out a song called "Damn Tim Is Sexy." Yeah, and he's talking about how the nurse wanted to fuck him when he was born and shit. Yeah, it's over that beat.
And then, yeah, like a lot of punk songs, obviously, like were on those tracks and stuff.
Yeah,
and, like
they taught me about the Ramones.
Okay,
yeah, I wouldn't have known about them if it wasn't for
Tony Hawk. Yeah, Tony Hawk like influenced a lot of like music listening, like for me at least, like growing up, of like Rancid and like Less Than Jake. Oh yeah, I skate like a white kid in suburbia. That's like all we had to do was skate around and stuff. Did you have like any like? Did you like pay attention to like pro skating or anything?
Nah, not too much.
Okay.
I have a lot of friends that still skate and still sponsored and shit. One
That's
of my
cool.
friends just jumped off of the fucking freeway onto the skate park on
damn.
14th. Yeah,
That's cool.
Landed on his shit. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, that shit was on Thrasher's Instagram a couple weeks ago. I was like, fuck, you guys are wild.
Yeah, we were super into like the pro skaters and stuff. I remember we got to go to like a summer.
I've run into the owner of Thrasher all the time on Muni and shit.
Cool.
He just be out cooling on market and stuff.
That's
so yeah.
Yeah, Thrash is really cool. Like we got to go to an X Games like one summer, or might have been X Games, might have been something else. But we got to meet like Sean White, who's like the guy with like the long like orange curly hair, who's like also a snowboarder and shit.
Yeah,
and,
okay,
like,
I know what you're talking about.
Bob Burnquist, a couple other like not like big like huge names, but like they're like cool enough. Or it was like, oh, that was like really dope to meet them. But yeah, like I definitely fell out of it when I moved here because I felt like there wasn't a lot of good skate spots out here. Like
I remember I did a report in school for Black History Month for Kareem Campbell. Off of that game. I remember doing that. I mean, someone took Chris Tucker. I remember that too. Someone took who I wanted to do.
Yeah, I remember moving out here. There was like part of a skate park sort of opened up here, but like skating was like really like not a thing. Like when I moved out, like.
So you're talking about San Francisco?
Yeah, like legally.
Crocker?
Yeah, like legally, like people didn't want people like cops didn't want people skating around and all this shit, and it was bad. So I fell out of it. So like I haven't really been super into it lately, but yeah, like growing up, just like skating around, like trying to like that was like back then we were making dumb videos of like us skating around and stuff, and like trying to like be cool and like be big and
like
shit.
Back then we were making dumb videos of us tagging shit. So it's like some of us already had like the little YouTube channels and trying to make it happen.
Yeah,
but it wasn't on the same. Like to us, we never making money on YouTube didn't make sense till like a couple months ago to me, where I was like, do they get paid when their video just hits 1 million? Like, do they just get some money, or like how's that shit work? But like now, I get it, you know, so it works. It took me just long enough, I think.
So, last question I have for you is, you got to go to New York. You're really into wrestling and stuff. And I know you talked about it a little bit of like, you know, it's not like it wasn't a dream of yours to like interview these people, but what was New York like going there and the event itself? Like, what was it cool?
Fucking awesome, dude. Like,
so what event? I'm not super into wrestling, so you might have to explain this a little bit. It's like, what was the event?
So it was a weird situation. So we have some friends, like the great people at 2K, right? So they putting out a new game called WWE 2K18.
Yes.
You heard of this? It's
Yeah,
gonna be on the Switch.
I have. Yeah. It's going to be on the Switch.
So then, you know, I'm really excited about that. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I can't believe I left it off the list. Here Comes the Pain on PS2.
Oh,
Love
okay.
that game.
Okay.
And and SmackDown versus Raw. I also have like some of the other games, but those are the
My
two ones
cousin
that
was
stood
really
out.
into like wrestling games, and like I wasn't super into it, but every once in a while he'd get me like to get into it, and I was like, all right, this is fun.
Yeah,
I can get
like
down
a lot of
with
people say No Mercy on N64 is the best wrestling game.
Yeah,
I would say SmackDown versus Raw on PS2 personally, but I just it's it's up there. But yeah, so they're putting out a new game, and they just wanted us to fly out there and play it, see what it's like. They put out also a mobile app game, Super Cards Season 3. So they did that. That was awesome. So we were just hanging out playing that. So when we were allowed to play the game, there was a red carpet, and that's when we got allowed to do some interviews. So I interviewed some amazing people, which was really scary because it was a lot more cutthroat than I thought.
Oh yeah,
yeah, like I was next to the IGN folk. I'm pretty sure the Europeans. Do you guys have European IGN?
Yeah, so we have UK. I think it was Gav Murphy who was out there, and oh man, it was Gav and one of the video guys. I forget his name, and I'm so sorry. But yeah, Gav was out there. He was really excited to be out there.
Yeah, so I saw them. That was awesome. Do you know who Smoke Dizza is?
No, I don't.
He's a rapper, really respected, basically a legend at this point. And so he was interviewing wrestlers right next to me, and it took me a second to realize it was him. And once I did, I was like, oh shit. Started talking. He's like, oh yeah, we're Wale's team. We're here, this and that. I'm like, so check them out. Wrestle Rap.
Okay.
Yeah, it's their thing. They're fucking badass.
Right.
So it was cool because wrestlers were walking up to them, and they're like Samoa Joe, for instance, was like, oh, man, I was just listening to Wu-Tang last night. Like, I already knew who they were. And it was just already jumping into it.
Yeah.
They saw a couple wrestlers and was like Finn Balor, and he's like, man, just check out my shoes, man. Check these out. I don't know what you wearing. It's like they actually have relationships with these people.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. But yeah, I interviewed a bunch of people. Kurt Angle I met when I was young, so getting to interview him now was so sick. I had this moment with Bailey, who's from San Jose.
Okay.
And she's one of the 4 horsewomen, and one of the 4 horsewomen is who Sasha Banks came up with. So she's one of the people who like basically changed women's wrestling in this day and age. And she met John Cena on Mission Street the same day I met John Cena on Mission Street. Oh. So she uploaded like a throwback picture or whatever, and it was an autograph from John Cena. I'm looking at it like, that's the same outfit, same wall, and she's from the same, like she's from San Jose, I'm from San Francisco. So I went my notebook or whatever, my photo book, and I was like, took the picture. So it was cool to be able to show her that in real life, got it on footage. Yeah, cool. I saw Xavier. Yeah. He was like, cool, Greg.
Xavier's
I was
the
like,
homie.
fuck yeah, dude. That was awesome. Yeah. So that event went great. And then the next day was NXT's takeover, Brooklyn, I think number 3, which is like, at number 1, Sasha Banks had one of the greatest matches of her career, and it's basically the D League. You know what D League is? Like the developmental league. No. Like there's like the San Francisco Giants, and there's like the Santa Cruz Giants, where it's like they're getting there.
It's like they're like AAA, like
they're practice mode, but they're still in the conversation. So they have NXT's that, and so they went all out. We saw a bunch of I saw Asuka's last match. She's had the women's title for longer than anyone in wrestling history, and I saw her defend it for the last time ever, and then she dropped it like, y'all can't beat me. I'm just gonna let y'all have this back. So we got to see that, so that's pretty cool. That's like a little memorable moment. So that was it. I'm not super into NXT, so a lot of the other things that were less important, I wasn't really caring about. I waited for them to get on the main roster before I started paying full attention. Okay. And then the next day was SummerSlam, which was fucking sick as shit. Okay. So randomly, it's graffiti themed. Oh, just like my hotel. There's etch tags, which is like you burn windows with etch. Okay. There's etch tags on my mirror. I'm like, what the fuck? There's graffiti spray paint cocktail makers. There's tags in the hallway, but it's like a fancy place.
They knew you were coming, man.
I was like,
cool,
dude,
Greg's coming. We gotta deck the place
crazy.
Out.
Yeah.
So it's graffiti theme. What were some of the fights that were there for SummerSlam?
So Sasha Banks won the title.
Okay.
4-time champion. I painted something on my Instagram to give her props on it because I was like, fuck, dude. I like that was more important than meeting her by far, because I didn't get to interview her. Yeah, they treated her like a fucking goddamn celebrity, like they should have. But so at that 2K event, she was on stage with Snoop Dogg while he was DJing and rapping and shit. Okay. So she was kind of like in that, you know,
she wasn't really on the carpet. Or
Okay. So, but seeing her win was awesome. That was definitely the highlight. There was the main event. It was like a fatal 4-way with like 4 huge monsters that like Brock Lesnar got taken out on a stretcher and came back and started killing shit. They got 3 tables got destroyed. Like, so it was really cool, man. A lot of fun. But overall, it wasn't the greatest SummerSlam. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to go down in history as one of the best ones.
Yeah.
But the 3 matches that I saw people win, I really was happy. Like, when Jinder Mahal is the champion, when he won, I was really excited. I'm really proud of him. Like, I like what he's doing.
Cool.
Sasha was really proud of that one, too. So I was like, oh, shit, let's get it, you know?
So it might not be the most memorable, like, in
for
general.
like the general
for
person.
you,
for
like,
me, I liked it.
That was really
yeah,
cool.
that Sasha moment.
Yeah.
Like, that was it. That was her first time she's ever won it on a pay-per-view.
Oh,
so like they
that's awesome.
actually like gave it to her.
So it'll sort of like boost her up, like sort of in the know and stuff. That's awesome.
But then these guys took the title off her 8 days later.
What?
Yep, Alexa Bliss beat her. So we're gonna see a fatal 4-way in LA, see if she gets it back, but sucks.
Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think she's gonna get back or not?
I don't know. It's really hard to tell with this title because as a fan or even as somebody who's trying to beat the system and understand why they're doing it, it's I don't understand why they gave her the title just to take it off of her.
Maybe it was like maybe it's like a redemption story, you know, like maybe like if she gets taken down and then like maybe this next event will be like sort of like her comeback.
Because she's a 4-time champion. Okay. I'm not exactly sure about these numbers, but I'm pretty sure it was 27 days, 20 days, 8 days. Like 8 days. Yeah, so it was like crazy. Every reign, her 4 reigns together have been shorter than the 1-time champion who beat her. Okay. So it's like, that's weird. How did you do that? Now this 1 time's a 2 time. So you're already halfway there with way more days. And it's like, oh shit, dude. So I don't really get that. And what's make this one's hard too is Nia Jax has a title shot. She's like a really, really big, real big monster girl. Yeah. She's related to The Rock. You know, so it's like last year when WWE 2K17 came out. Yeah. They had her as one of the special covers. She was on the cover, not Sasha, not any of these other girls. So it's like,
so she's like,
they have a lot of faith in her. Yeah. So it's like, this might be her moment. It might not be. So, but I would say for sure it's between Nia and Sasha.
Okay.
So.
Cool. That's exciting. So that's all the sort of the questions I have for you, at least. But this is part of the show where, you know, you can tune in and put your 2 cents into the show, or you can tweet at us every week. I'm at BananaLeChong. Sean, who's usually here, is at Sean Twisters. And Cool Greg, who's affiliated with Zero Life, is at Kinda Cool Greg on Twitter and Instagram. So follow him on Instagram. Because do you still do streams on Instagram, or are you just doing?
I'm just testing the waters now that Kevin and them aren't around. You know, because those are the businessmen. They're gonna be like, you know, maybe we should only have the quality. But Greg Miller's the party dad, boy. You know, like, so he's just whatever, like, man. He's like, dude, have a great time. Do you need another beer? Like, just go for it, dude. Like, give the people what they want. Yeah. I was like, all right, dude.
Cool. So follow him on Instagram. He's got a lot of cool posts there. He might still be streaming there. We'll see in the future. And then follow, you know, Kinda Funny everywhere if you're not already. YouTube.com/kindafunny, Kinda Funny Games, Twitch.tv/Kinda Funny Games, and all that stuff.
For a while there, I was telling my friends, like, hey, dude, I don't need any support. I don't need any money. Yeah. But take all your girlfriend's phones, go to YouTube and just subscribe. She'll never know. Like, nothing out of her life will ever change, but it helps us. Like, that's it. So just do little sneaky ones here and there.
Get on your girlfriend's phones, have them subscribe to Kinda Funny, all that good stuff, and then, you know, maybe they randomly a video will pop up for them, and then they'll be like, oh,
they'll be
actually
hooked.
check it. Yeah,
they'll be hooked, man.
Get an episode of Oreo Oration or one of those like old school videos.
Me and Andy did a 12-hour day about 2 days ago, and the next night he didn't come into fucking work, but we ended with watching an episode of Oreo Oration because I'd never seen it, and we were just dying, dude.
Which episode was it? The
Red Velvet one, where he's just laughing. He's like, "It's just so good." I'm just like, "What the?" Like, I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
I think Joey told this story like on her episode. Like, that's how she found like Kinda Funny and stuff.
Oreo,
was, like
so
Oreo Oration,
man.
Yeah. So I asked you, the great Twitter audience out there, if you had any questions for Cool Greg for this episode, and y'all responded a lot. A lot of you responded, so thank you so much.
Pretty exciting.
So first question comes from Yusuf McGuid at Yusuf McGuid. I think that's how you say your last name. I'm so sorry, Yusuf. I love you. He wants you basically. I think he wants you to rank these people. So you got E40 versus Mac Dre versus Keek the Sneak versus Too Short. So like, who's
I want to say first off, I don't really know what's up with Keek the Sneak, but I heard he got shot like a week or two ago. So I hope he's okay. You know, prayers out to Keek. So definitely it's Mac Dre. Okay. And then Too Short, E40, then the Jacka. I'm taking Keek off the list. I don't think he's deserves to be on the list.
And then Reverend Cameron Abbott at Unsexiest Comedian.
Familiar with that guy.
He's in the Twitch chat.
Cameron, right?
Yeah, Cameron. Yeah. He says, he wants you to talk about the importance of being earnest and true to oneself, even if the people be hating. So like how important is like the just like you being you and like the flow, like going with the flow and all that stuff. Like, is that sort of like a part of your mantra? Like,
I mean, before I answer this, I want to say, Kind of Funny changed my life.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for not like anything, if it wasn't for Kind of Funny, for exactly what Kind of Funny is, you know, I would be in a really worse situation than I am. So I can't really speak too much on my story. Isn't relatable for everyone, you know. And everyone's asked me like, oh, you know, how'd you get here? Whatever. Like my friends and like, what have you been doing? Like, how'd you get here? I'm like, bro, you just gotta, you know, drop out of college, you know what I mean? Get a couple felonies and have a brother that starts a successful business. Like, you know, so it's like, there's always that little punchline at the end. But I would say I wouldn't be with Kind of Funny if I wasn't so true to myself. Like they feel like, even Kevin says it a few times where he's like, dude, I will never appreciate or respect your opinion on the police. But he's like, dude, like I can get it. Like I see how you complain and how you get dealt with, and he's like, it's completely different than what shit I deal with. So
and I think that's like sort of advice, not even like trying to get it, like working at a company like IGN or anything, but like just sort of good life advice of just like be yourself and like be good to people and stuff. And you know, that good, like I'm not a huge believer in like karma, but like usually that like if you put good stuff out there, usually good stuff will come back in. And that seems like what happened with you, you know. It's like you're a good guy, and like you put out just like being genuine and heartfelt and stuff, and sort of like that sort of good energy sort of came back and sort of got you where you are, you know.
Like my PO, this dude is named Mike Jones, and he's a dick. Like I just think he's really bad at his job. And now that I have a voice, I'm just going to speak it, you know, because even in the Greg Miller interview, I named his name because I'm like, I don't respect what he does. And he talks to me all the time. When he does talk to me, when he has time for it, talks to me all the time about like how this bullshit I'm doing with the graffiti, with the wrestling. Not so much about the wrestling, but just with the bullshit in general, and like the way my work ethic and the way I act and everything. And it's just like all these little things where it's like, I just got shouted out on the Kind of Funny morning show for best friend. P.S. I love his best friend. And someone's just saying like, dude, I appreciate all your hard work. And it's just like, should I fucking leave this on Mike Jones's fucking like his little voicemail or something? You know, should I just send this to him? Because it's like, people appreciate when you are yourself. You know what I mean? Even if you're not a great person. And I feel like every time I try to just be myself, and a lot of the times I don't speak on the morning show when they're talking about certain things. So I'm like, I don't have that same opinion about this, but I know the internet doesn't want to hear that. So I'm just going to keep it cool. So it's like being yourself doesn't mean just jumping out there and just saying shit for how you see it. You know what I mean? It's like
sort of like reading the room and like knowing like
see what's important enough to get across and what's not. Like, what do you not have to like, okay, I don't care if you think that. And like, sometimes you got to correct them.
Yeah, and I think like you being able to recognize that like already just makes you a great fucking person. So
there you go, bro.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
Next question comes from Andrew Taylor at Papa Drew Bear. He just wants you to talk about your love for Sasha Banks, just for a quick second. I
mean, dude.
So where did this? Where did like? When did you become like a huge fan of Sasha Banks?
WrestleMania 31. I saw her live fight. She didn't win, but she was in the fight. And since then, I was just kind of like, she stood out. She was a superstar. I didn't think her gimmick was weak. And every fight, every time she wrestled, I was like, oh shit! Like, she actually looks like she has talent. She doesn't look like a model with double D's they just threw in there.
Yeah,
like she looks like I can see why she's dressed like that, and like not think she's there for a sexual thing. She's there to like do the job she's doing.
She's like
and
actually passionate.
The way
about,
she's
like,
moving, I could see everything constricting her. And it started to make women's wrestling started to make more sense to me. And then from then on, after going through all like the breakups, and you know, like I'm from Bay Area, man. Like, you know, we keep it player. Like when you listen to Mac Dre, like it's just we have a certain way of things, and it's like a certain way of doing things. And at least for me personally, like I didn't have the greatest idea of women growing up, you know, and I could say within the last 2 years, like that's all completely changed from the amazing people I meet at Kind of Funny. Like even someone like Paula, like Kevin's girlfriend. I've never met a girlfriend like that my friends had that I respected. You know what I mean? So like this was new when I was at Paula. I was like, holy shit, like that's auntie right there. Like that's sis. Like, oh shit, like you were actually cool, you know? And it's like, so it's like that happens more and more. Then when you meet Jen, then when you meet Aaron, then we meet all these girls, and it's like, oh shit, these people are cool as fuck. So I don't know. That kind of goes into it. It kind of changed my perspective on it. And then paying attention, going for Sasha, backtracking, learning about her, seeing the whole thing, watching the interviews, watching the documentaries. It's like, oh shit, she had the same dream I had when I was a little ass kid. Just like Bailey did. She was in line for John Cena, just in a different state, you know? And it's like, she did it, man. And it's like, it's just, I don't know. It's just, she inspires me, man.
It's like sort of like the sort of not underdog, but sort of just like the great like rising up of like passion, drive.
Yeah,
story.
and it's like the whole legit boss thing. Like those are two words that I would never use if it wasn't for Sasha. I don't say legit and I don't say boss, you know. But when she does it, it's like I see it kind of like as her own like thug life kind of thing, where she's just like I'm doing me, like I'm out here, bro, like I'm just doing me, you know. And it's like that's why I like, because like,
and because I'm doing me,
she's
like,
up there,
that's
like,
why I'm like, you know, that's why I'm fucking cool.
Yeah,
you know?
I fuck with it too, super tough. And then when I found out she was related to Snoop, I was like, okay, that's boss.
Blessing Adeoye Jr. at Blessing Jr., who's from OK Beast. Shout out to OK Beast. He wants you to talk about the most crucial cuts of the 2000s. So like
Crucial songs?
Yeah.
Of the 2000s, huh? Is that something we can like Google? Because I don't really know how to like
And so like Eminem was pretty big in like early 2000s and like he was more like late 90s.
all the 2000s. I'm thinking of the year 2000. I'm sorry here, like fuck. What? How do I
not
pinpoint
that year,
that?
but like sort of just like that decade.
I mean, I'd say 2005 is like my year of music. It's like when Tone Deaf put out his fucking one of the greatest albums, I think, Archetype. What Does FM Stand For from Pack of Fam, which I got some of the lyrics tatted on me. Like 2005, Louis Logic. It just had like a lot of underground good music. That's and but dude, as far as the crucial cuts, like growing up listening to music, I'm thinking it's the 2000s. I listened to a lot of Nelly. Country Grammar and Nellyville. I really fucked those albums. I thought he was extremely talented because I didn't know too many rappers that could sing.
Yeah.
I didn't know Pimp Juice. I thought Pimp Juice was like an American classic, respected song, like a ballad.
Yeah.
And I found out years later, like, oh wait, so bitch, why you Russian line wasn't genius? That was corny. You know, it took me a couple times, you know, to figure this shit out. But yeah, huge fan of Nelly. I started listening to Eminem early on. I think I was like embarrassed for being like a white kid listening to Eminem at Roosevelt, which was like
that was sort of the same thing. It
Americans.
was like a lot of my friends were listening to Eminem, so I checked out like a song or two, like the one about the closet, like cleaning out the closet and stuff. And like I liked a couple songs, but for the most part, I'm like, I'm a white kid in suburbia. Like I don't want to be part of like the sort of like what's like sort of like. I'm losing words here.
Cliche, like stereotype.
Yeah, like stereotype. I didn't want to be that like stereotype, so I was like, nah, I'm not down with this.
And then you know it's weird, like with Jay-Z, just fucking. I started listening to him heavy, like just like everything, just jumped fully into it, and I was just like, at first I just didn't understand why he was in the conversation of like one of the greatest of all time, and like I was a big Wayne fan, but just because he was on the radio, kind of forced down my throat. But I was never a huge fan of Nas. And Biggie and Tupac, I was never a fan of, and Biggie I liked, but he didn't really have enough music for me to be like, really, this is my guy. Yeah. So, just Jay-Z always stood out to me. I was like, why the fuck is he in the conversation? You know, and started listening to him more. And then one day I was like, holy shit,
like it clicked.
He did it. Like his kind of wordplay is what I'm trying to do, where it's like you can hear it or you could read it, and you might get two different lines. You know, you might take this two different ways, or like, you know, so I love that kind of shit.
And that's sort of the same, like not as much for rap, because like I'm not as well versed. Like I listened to a couple things, like a Tribe Called Quest and like Run the Jewels we were listening to on the way here and all that stuff. But like one of my favorite artists is Bob Dylan, who's like a sort of old school folk country singer. And I'm not usually into country or anything, but the way he writes, it's like people have studied how he has written for years, because one song can be interpreted like 10 different ways and stuff. So like I'm down with that.
Yeah, dude. Fucking the wordplay in it. I fucking love it.
Yep. So next question we have.
Oh, but another thing with the music.
Oh yeah.
Definitely want to say early 2000s, the hyphy movement. Like I listened to Mr. Fab like crazy. Like E40 was popping off. Never been a fan of Kick to Sneak, but I know he was a part of it. So for me, I'll put him there. But yeah, dude, that music made who I was. It got me like the way I think and the way I treat people and everything. And yeah, hyphy movement was my shit.
Okay, cool. Let's see here. Going through all the questions here. Sort of talked about this already. All right. So you sort of talked about so what about JC's style sort of drew you in? It's like sort of like the multiple meeting sort of things.
Yeah, I feel like this is gonna get real controversial. So your YouTube shit might get blown up right here. But like I feel very man, how do I say this? I think there's a lot that you have to take into consideration when you're saying like the best rapper of all time. And I don't know, I think a very, very important thing of that is like sticking around long enough to continue to rap.
Yeah.
I'm not saying stick past your prime, but even the ability to stick past your prime to make a comeback is part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to offend anyone, but because I know people like really see Tupac as a god, but like, I just feel like the fact that he couldn't make it.
Yeah.
He's not here now. He couldn't continue to go on to make music. Yeah. You have to take off points. I feel like part of the reason I find Jay-Z to be so inspirational is because he never pulled a Nas. He never sold out. He never fell off and came back. He never tried to do all these things, you know. Biggie, he's on record to be known as somebody who stayed away from stupid ass situations. Like even Jay-Z's openly said like, you know, we've pulled up to clubs we were supposed to perform at, and Biggie didn't even hop out because there was too much. The outside of the club looked too rugged. And he's like, dude, it's not even worth it. So he just didn't show up. And Jay-Z went on to think like, I think this dude's soft. I can't believe this is the Biggie Smalls we were thinking of. And then once Biggie's passed, years later, now Jay-Z's who he is now. He's like, he was a fucking genius. He was years beyond his time. I could have lost everything right there for nothing, you know. And I just feel like Jay-Z considers so much more aspects going into the music. And he gave us people like Kanye. He gave us J. Cole. And it's like, Nas has signed some underground rappers here and there, but no one that keeps up to those names. And who else is in the conversation? Just Biggie, Pac, him. Like, I mean, like, I guess Eminem, but it's like to focus mainly on Jay. Like, I just feel like he has every part of the game covered.
And I think at this point, Eminem, I think has more bad albums than good ones at this point.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
He really like his most recent one like really dropped off. I heard it like people were like it's not great. And then like before he came back with I'm Not Afraid. Do you remember that? Like that was like 2010. There was like I think like 3 albums in a row were just like awful. Because like I wouldn't listen to them entirely, but like I would hear the hits and I'm like, this is bad, dude.
Yeah.
So I don't think
I feel like a lot of people around me got into Eminem right when I got out.
Yeah.
So that was weird. But yeah, dude, I don't know. I think Jay-Z puts a thought of consideration into it that I don't find with anyone else. And how authentic is like when he says what he's doing, it's believable because it's like he actually is rapping. He actually is doing these things. Yeah. Compared to other people when they're saying how rich they are, and it's just like, but you're gonna go broke, like the way you're living, you know?
Yeah. Like people trying to like show off like too much, like high above like where they should be at, you know, like trying to like. But it's sort of like I sort of respect that almost because like it's them trying to sort of look like they've made it because like that's sort of like what Tim's thing was like sort of pretend you're famous until you are like sort of like act like you're famous on the internet and like people do that, but then they like sort of go beyond their means and then they sort of fuck up and like burn it up like not in an actual fire but sort of lose it.
And I think Jay-Z too stays away from like controversial statements.
Yeah.
He's always smart on the mic. He never says anything to make you like listen to him and be like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I mean, he put out the song Big Pimpin' and then married Beyonce. Like, what?
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know.
I like, but I also like the sort of more controversial stuff, but like more of like basically staying aware of like the sort of shitty situation that we all live in, like in our society. Like a Tribe Called Quest new album was very much of like, yo, like racists are still like all in America, and like we sort of have to stop that stuff. And like Run the Jewels new album was sort of like that as well, just like hey, we're in a fucked up situation and we can't forget like there's still a lot of hate and racism and like all of this sort of like systematic problems in our country that we still gotta like figure out and stuff. So when it comes to that kind of controversial like stuff that makes you think about like what we're sort of living into the day to day, I'm like, all right, I'm down with that. But when it's like dumb stuff, like I used to listen to Tyler the Creator and like Odd Future and all that shit. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Like his controversial stuff was more of like just saying the most profound like shit just to, like, just for the fuck of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do hood rat shit with my friends in the mall. Yeah, fuck y'all. Like, you know,
exactly. So like I was into that when I was younger, and then like eventually I was like, no, this is like he's not saying anything though, and like his recent album is a little better because he started to sort of go more into sort of like himself and like why he used to be like that. He grew out of it as well, like at the same time I did. So yeah, like I'm more into like the stuff that makes you think. You know?
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that gave Tyler a lot of credit for like Yonkers and everything.
Yonkers was good.
And then I listened to it. I thought the beat was fire.
Yeah. And
like, you know, it sounds good as music. But then I listened to it and I'm like, this is like, I'm using the word deep because I don't know what to call it. Yeah. This is deep on like if 10's what you're aiming for and you know shallow is a 1. Yeah. This is like a 5, but he's prettying it up to make it look like it's a 9. Yeah. He's just saying a bunch of random shit like triceratops on the top of the tricera's back. Like what the fuck? Like
so like that entire album Goblin is actually really fascinating. Like if you take out like the fucked up things he says, like the story.
I feel like you should take out most of his features. I don't like the features.
Yeah,
I like the vibe.
I like Frank Ocean's feature on She or Her. I forget which one.
That one doesn't count.
like that.
Yeah, I don't count that one.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like the verses where people are in there like, in my underwear and I'm eating French fries, and it's like, what are you talking about?
I mean,
bro?
like that part is just like.
Yeah, I get
him
the
and his
vibe.
friend are like
Yeah.
just fucking around. It's like, all right, like whatever, but you should keep that stuff out. But the entire album is like fascinating because it's like it's basically all a therapy session where he's like he's talking to his therapist and stuff, and then like he sort of goes insane and he has all his basically a personality disorder in this story, and then like he realizes that the therapist is actually sort of like the good side of him. The therapist isn't real, it's still him. So it's like this entire album is him thinking he's like fucked up and stuff, and at the end he's like, no, like I'm not, like I'm actually fine, like I'm, you know, like I still have this part of me that's saying like, no, these thoughts are bad and you shouldn't kill people or like kidnap girls and all that stuff. So I did appreciate, like, there were moments where I was like, this is sort of dumb, but like overall I was like, I vibe with this album. And then it was like after that where I was like, all right, we can get done with all of this stuff.
I know, to bring it back to Jay-Z, my brother gave me some he was saying, I don't want to misquote him, but he was saying he thought that Jay-Z's new album 444 wasn't as like, you know, deep as it needed to be in 2017. And I was just thinking like, I disagree. I'm like, anyone who's listening to Jay-Z who's looking for a meaning has songs describing this shit. Like 2017, like you said, like racism's not new.
Yeah.
There's not new opinions on racism.
Yeah.
There's just new events, and we don't need to bring them all up, you know? And it's like people win the lottery last year too. Like there's all the same shit's already happened. I feel 2017's not really changed anything.
Yeah.
Like visually it is, you know, we're all on our phones and shit like that. But when you're talking about like music and what we're trying to do with it, I feel like Jay-Z's already got it covered from here on out. Focus on just the music aspect and not the message and the story until you have a real one. And this one seems like it's kind of like a response to Lemonade, Beyonce's, where it's just kind of like, hey, I know I fucked up, but hey, I'm growing, you know. It's like, it's almost like a fake problem because he's so normal now. He's just talking about like thinking about cheating and shit. So it's like,
well, Greg, the last question we have for you, and then we got to wrap up because this episode's gone on a little long, is Sean at Sean Twisters asks,
oh fuck,
yo, when are we gonna hang out?
Oh man, okay. I thought he was mad about the job, dude. Not yet, anytime. Obviously, this whole joke.
I think like he took like the firing like pretty well. Like he's accepted that you're here now. And all that stuff.
Okay.
No, like this is a good little gag that we have.
Yeah, I definitely love Sean Pitts. 100%. He's my guy, man.
Yeah. We got to figure out a time to hang out. Maybe fucking go out to dinner or something.
Yeah, dude. Like wings or something sounds perfect.
Hell yeah. Because like we've been super busy lately, so I feel like I haven't really seen like anybody like you or Kevin or anything. So we gotta find a time to hang out and stuff.
Yeah, it's coming up to a busy fucking time. All the wrestling shit and all Kevin's weddings and shit. I'm sure we can make it happen.
Yeah. Cool, Greg. Thank you so much for
no problem.
hanging
Thank you
out
for
today.
having me, man.
Yeah,
This
sorry it was
awesome.
a super long episode, but it was really fun. It was a fun ride.
Yeah, it was fine.
And thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this week. Remember, Zero Life is a weekly show where we talk about nerd culture, pop culture, sometimes have cool guests like Cool Greg. And we come up every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on youtube.com/ZeroLife and SoundCloud.com/ZeroLife Show and all the podcast services that you can think of, iTunes and all that good stuff. We're not on Spotify though, because Spotify is like, we're too cool for you guys. You guys can't be on here. Spotify is very like exclusive of like who can get on there and stuff.
Are we on Spotify?
I don't know. I'm not too sure.
I know SoundCloud because I uploaded there.
Yeah. But thank you guys so much for joining us. And again, you can follow Cool Greg at Kinda Cool Greg on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. Follow me on Twitter at Bananalerchong. Sean, who's usually the other host, is at Sean Twisters. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And until next time, hit the music.